Chapter 3483. Tang Xiang only felt intense pain all over her body. Her vision turned black and she could no longer see clearly what this world was like. She wanted to open her mouth to speak, to call for help, but she couldn't do it no matter what because she was about to die. She really didn't want to die, but no one paid attention to her at all. That's right, she was just an unremarkable female cultivator with poor talent in the cultivation world. In the cultivation world, more than half of the cultivators died fighting for magic treasures. She was just a nobody, yet she wanted to be recognized by others. But she was unwilling to die like this. She opened her eyes wide, hoping for a miracle. But her body kept falling until she fell into the boiling lava, and no one paid attention to her. When her consciousness fell into darkness, Tang Xiang sighed. Her talent wasn't good and her luck in this life was mediocre. She was born with good talent and luck, how could she have ended up like this? The fierce battle was still going on, and no one seemed to have noticed that Tang Xiang had died. Tang Xiang, do you want to live? A voice came from nowhere. Of course she wanted to live, and she used all her strength to say yes. This sovereign will give you another life on account of your sincerity. However, you have to remember that you have used your life in exchange for this life. If you die again in this life, you will truly die. Your soul will scatter and you will no longer have the chance to reincarnate. If you succeed in ascending, you can exchange it for eternal life. Are you willing? How could Tang Xiang not be willing? She didn't even think about it and immediately agreed. Then Tang Xiang was reborn and she began her life that she thought was brilliant. Tangua woke up in a cave. The cave was dark, damp and cold, and there was no place that made her feel comfortable. Especially in every part of her body. Prompt. The system detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the bottom right corner or the top right corner, and find the button Close Reading to complete the content. She was not used to the splitting pain that came from her body. Do you think I need painkillers? Speaking of which, it's been a long time since I transmigrated to a world like this. This familiar pain that I haven't felt for a long time makes me miss it. The system was a little scared. It had already scanned Tangua's body condition. It was very bad. There were sword wounds all over her body. Not only were there fresh sword wounds on every part of her body, there were also some old wounds. Some of the scars looked like they were caused by the old wounds. Of course it's good to be comfortable, but after being comfortable for a long time, it's easy to forget the pain. Have you forgotten that there's a saying that goes, once the scar is healed, one will forget the pain? The system retorted, who would forget the pain after their scars have healed? My dear host wouldn't. But thinking that her body wasn't in good condition, he didn't say anything else. I don't want it for now. I want to accept the memories first. Right now, my heart is filled with resentment and sorrow. I'm not happy. I want to see what exactly happened. The system's voice was so weak that it didn't dare to answer. It had just roughly scanned the content. The things that happened in this world were indeed quite infuriating. Thus, it remained silent and allowed Tangua to accept the memories. It also didn't tease her anymore. It just helped Tangua inform her friends in the group that she was safe. In this life, Tangua had transmigrated to the world of immortal cultivation. She was born in an immortal cultivation family. When she was 3 years old, she tested out to have the best ice spiritual root. It was an excellent cultivation system. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, domain name, Kiankianks. Prompt. The system detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the bottom right corner or the top right corner, and find the button Close Reading to complete the content. Chapter 3484. The most powerful sect in this world, the Absolute Beginning Sect, immediately sent one of the most powerful peak lords of the sect down the mountain to take the original owner as a disciple after hearing this news. Although a cultivation family was strong, it couldn't compare to a sect. The family Tang was naturally willing. However, the family Tang loved their daughter and couldn't bear to see her separated from them at such a young age. They made an agreement with the Moon Peak Lord to wait until the original owner was 8 before going to the sect to cultivate. How could the Taichu sect not agree to such a genius cultivation seedling? When the original owner was found to have a top-grade ice spirit root at the age of 3, Everyone thought that the original owner would shine brightly and bring glory to the family Tang. Countless sects were envious of the Taichu sect's quick actions, snatching away this top-grade genius. However, the truth wasn't like that. When the original owner was 5 years old, she was jealous of her younger sister's diligence in cultivation and was often praised by her parents and clan elders. She seriously injured her younger sister, who was 2 years younger than her and only 3 years old. Although the family Tang didn't have many rules, they were very strict. One of the most strict rules was that one couldn't harm one's own family. The original owner was jealous at such a young age and actually hurt her own younger sister. Even though she was only 5 years old, cultivators matured early and they only thought that this child wasn't raised well. However, because she was only 5 years old and had great talent, they couldn't watch such a good seedling grow astray. Thus, they became stricter with the original owner's teachings. In reality, the original owner didn't mean to injure her younger sister. It was inevitable that there would be some accidents during the spar. She was also young. Although her control of spiritual power wasn't bad. However, if Tang Xiang didn't control her spiritual power well, it would be very easy for her to injure the other party. Tang Xiang also explained to everyone that she didn't control her spiritual power well and bumped into her sister. However, no one believed her. They all thought that the original owner was very evil at such a young age. Tang Xiang even privately told the original owner, "Notice, the system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content." The original owner apologized and felt very wronged. She said that no matter how she explained, no one would listen. Tang Xiang had never said anything bad about the host, so the host believed her. Originally, there was no problem as long as the family strictly disciplined the original owner. However, the original owner refused to change. His actions were still as ruthless as before. Especially during the competition, he did not show any mercy to his fellow clansmen. Although he did not cause any casualties, he would still make people lie in bed for several days before they could recover. The reason why the original owner didn't show any mercy was because she wanted to teach these people a lesson. These people talked about her in private and provoked her. During the competition, they repeatedly attacked her weak spots. If they hit her, she would be the one lying in bed for half a month. She was a person with a temper. Although she didn't talk much, she wasn't someone who could be bullied. These half-grown children repeatedly said unpleasant things and even wanted to injure her. How could she not retaliate? However, he didn't expect to be labeled as a vicious and merciless person. However, she did not care about her reputation in the first place. These people did not like her and even hated her. Why should she show mercy? The elders only saw that she was ruthless, but they forgot that they were also ruthless. This was prejudice. The original owner had a cold personality. She was not close to her biological parents and siblings. She only knew how to cultivate every day and never asked about the outside world. She was also very proud and did not put anyone in her eyes. She was not popular. She was very competitive and did not show mercy. Whether it was a trial or a competition, she would fight for the first place. If anyone fought with her, she would not show mercy. This caused the entire family to be dissatisfied with her. Later on, something even more infuriating happened. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting lead, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for friends. Notice. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3485. Tang Xiang had unintentionally saved a person. When the person came over to thank her, she didn't point it out at first, but the original owner said indifferently, "No need, it was convenient." That look was clearly telling the other party that she was the person who saved his life. This person was called Ji Qi. At that time, his eyes were injured and he didn't see clearly who it was. However, after the other party left, he dropped a jade pendant. He used this jade pendant to find the family Tang. And that jade pendant belonged to Tang Xiang. The jade pendant was in Ji Qi's hands. Everyone thought that the original owner wanted to take the credit for saving Ji Qi. If it was the original owner, they still had some admiration for her. At least she was talented and hardworking. No matter how ruthless she was, they could only blame it on their bad luck. However, Ji-Chi's incident changed their impression of the original owner. In their hearts, the original owner was a disgrace. The original owner had a cold personality. Seeing that everyone was certain of this matter, she didn't say anything and turned to leave. When everyone saw this, they thought that she was guilty. In reality, Ji-Chi was seriously injured and had fainted on the way. Coincidentally, he met the original owner. She wasn't a meddlesome person. However, Ji-Chi didn't seem like a bad person. If he stayed in the wilderness, he could be eaten by wild beasts at any time. He didn't want to care too much. She only fed Ji-Chi a healing pill and hung him on a tree branch. Using the leaves as a cover, he wouldn't be discovered for the time being. When Ji-Chi woke up, whether he lived or died would be his own problem. After Ji-Chi revealed his identity, she found out that this person was the Moon Peak's Peak Master's eldest disciple. He was also the original owner's eldest senior brother. When Ji-Chi found out that his junior sister was such a person, he couldn't help but feel disgusted. On the other hand, the kind-hearted Tang Xiang, who was neither arrogant nor impatient, wasn't in a hurry to take credit. She even smiled gently and calmly. Notice: the system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. He won his favor. Although Tang Xiang's talent wasn't as good as the original owner's, there were many strange things in the world of cultivation. There were many secret treasures that could be used to forge talent. As a result, Ji-Chi recommended Tang Xiang, a kind-hearted young lady, to the Peak Master of the Moon Peak. When the Moon Peak Lord heard Ji-Chi's words, he found out that the original owner of the Moon Peak had been raised to such a temperament. He was indeed very regretful. However, he would definitely not give up on such a good seedling. Now that he was still young, he might be able to correct his mistakes. Furthermore, he had already made a promise back then. It was impossible for him to go back on his word. Naturally, he had to bring her back. But this impression had already been destroyed. The original owner did not know how to please, nor did she know how to flatter. She was not good with words and did not know how to get along with people. Naturally, her popularity was not good. She was talented, arrogant, and unapproachable. The people in the Moon Peak did not have a good impression of the original owner of the body. Most of them were jealous. But Tang Xiang was different. She was beautiful, kind, and had a sweet mouth. She was also very approachable. Even if it was the lowest-ranked disciple, Tang Xiang would not look down on them. She even said that they were all disciples of the same peak, and she was only able to enter the peak because she had a slight advantage over them. If she were the same as them, she might not have ended up like this. In a short period of time, everyone in the Moon Peak, including the Peak Master of the Moon Peak, admired Tang Xiang. Moreover, Tang Xiang was very hardworking in her cultivation. Her talent was not as good as the original owner's, but she was also very hardworking and had a good temperament. In the beginning, the Peak Master of the Moon Peak only accepted Tang Xiang as a disciple in name. That was until he personally brought a disciple out for training. Unexpectedly, they met with danger during the training. In order to protect his disciple, he ignored his serious injuries and threw his disciple out of the danger zone with a wave of his sleeve. I want to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, domain name, Kiankianx. Prompt: the system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button. Chapter 3486. At that time, the original owner was the furthest away, and the disciples were not willing to get close to her. Naturally, she was not among them. Seeing that the Moon Peak Master and the original owner were being sucked away by the mysterious force, Tang Xiang, who was thrown out, suddenly found the courage to fly back. She grabbed the Moon Peak Master with one hand and threw out a piece of cloth to wrap around the original owner's waist. She planned to use her own strength to pull the two of them back. At that time, the Moon Peak Master thought that this was a silly girl. It was impossible for him to use his strength to send Tang Xiang out. He only used half of his spiritual energy to protect Tang Xiang. The three of them were sucked away by the mysterious force and fell to a strange place. Tang Xiang was protected by the Moon Peak Master and only suffered some light injuries. The Moon Peak Master was already heavily injured. In addition, he used a lot of energy to send the disciples out and used a part of his strength to protect Tang Xiang. When he used that part of his strength, he could no longer hold on and fainted. His thoughts after fainting were the same. No matter what, he had to protect his silly disciple. He even decided that if he survived this time, he would take Tang Xiang as a real disciple and teach her well. What he did not know was that after he fainted, he could not hold on at all in the dark space. It was the original owner who used a secret treasure that she obtained by chance to cover the two of them. That was why they did not lose their lives. The original owner did this because he was her master. He had given her pointers and taught her martial arts. In addition, she wasn't really a cold person. In fact, she also longed for love, for attention, and even for affection. But for some reason, everyone hated her and held a grudge against her. When the Moon Peak Master woke up, he found Tang Xiang cleaning his wounds. Her eyes were red and it was obvious that she had cried many times. There was also the fragrance of meat. He did not believe that the original owner would do this. It was most likely Tang Xiang. Sure enough, after asking, Tang Xiang said, "Master has been unconscious for a long time. I have lost my space bag and only the sword in my hand is left." Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. I was afraid that Master would be hungry when he woke up. Thanks to Sister looking after Master, I was able to find some food. Master, you must be hungry. Hurry up and eat. These spirit beast meat all have spiritual energy. It will definitely help with your injuries. The Peak Master of the Moon Peak looked at Tang Xiang's concerned expression and then looked at the original owner of the Moon Peak, who was meditating by the side without asking for his opinion at all. The more he compared, the more he felt that even if one was talented, it would be difficult for one to reach the Great Tao if one's temperament was bad. Originally, he didn't have any prejudice against the original owner, but the other party was too cold. It was said that she often bullied and looked down on her biological sister. It seemed that she disliked her sister's lack of talent. He had originally thought that since he was her master, he had to teach her well no matter what. But now he realized that this girl was mischievous and could not be taught at all. If he didn't teach him well, the other party might even become a demon. If so, wouldn't he have committed a grave mistake? In fact, what the Moon Peak Lord didn't know was that when Tang Xiang was looking for food, it was the original owner who fed him pills and channeled spiritual energy to heal him. The cultivation level of the original owner of the body was far lower than that of the Moon Peak's Peak Master. In order to heal his injuries, she had to feed herself countless pills in order to provide spiritual energy to the Peak Master of the Moon Peak. This was why she had been meditating at the side and didn't move at all. That was because she was too tired and didn't know whether this place was dangerous or not. She needed to recover her strength as soon as possible to protect herself. After that, the Moon Peak Lord didn't value the original owner of the body and didn't guide her personally. His neglect was seen by everyone. But the original owner had talent and strength. Even if others despised and looked down on her, they didn't dare to do anything to her. But what if her wings were broken? In an accident, the original owner of the body was seriously injured and her foundation was damaged. She had used the last of her strength to come back. After the sex alchemist treated her, he said that there was only one way to restore the original owner of the body. The mixed yuan flame flower was a rare treasure that was hard to come by in 100 years. Once one consumed the mixed yuan flame flower, even if one was a good-for-nothing, one's spiritual root could be raised to the highest grade, and it was a single spiritual root. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter is unable to load the content of the next page. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3487. Given the extent of damage that the original owner had suffered, it would be a piece of cake for her to recover. What the people in the sect did not know was that the Moon Peak Master had coincidentally obtained a Chaos Flame Flower. According to the original owner's injuries, he should have given the Chaos Flame Flower to the original owner since she was so talented. However, he felt that the original owner was not worthy. From the original owner's various actions, he felt that she was not suitable for cultivation. She was too cold and unreasonable. It was fine if she treated other people, but she was also cold and ruthless towards her own family. He was afraid that if he gave the original owner the Chaos Flame Flower, she would become a demon in the future. However, if he did not save her, he would feel bad. If the sect had to choose, they would definitely save her. After all, a talent like the original owner was hard to come by. She had a strange temper and her methods were ruthless, but she did not die. The sect would not lose such a talent. Just as the Moon Peak Master was hesitating, he suddenly realized that something was wrong with Tang Xiang. He asked Tang Xiang what was wrong, but Tang Xiang only shook her head and said that she was worried about her sister. She did not look fake and he did not suspect anything. However, he felt that this good disciple of his was hiding something from him. Thus, he decided to secretly observe what happened to Tang Xiang. If someone bullied his disciple, he would definitely seek justice. In the end, when Tang Xiang was meditating, she suddenly screamed in pain, "Sister, don't. Sister, why did you do this? Why did you become like this? No, don't kill them." That painful look stung the Moon Peak Master's eyes. The next day he asked Tang Xiang what was wrong, but Tang Xiang still said that she was worried about her sister's injuries. After observing for a few days, the Moon Peak Master guessed that Tang Xiang might have seen through the secrets of heaven from her painful expression and short words. Even the most powerful cultivator would not be able to understand the secrets of heaven. He asked Tang Xiang again, but Tang Xiang still said that she was worried about her sister and dreamed that something happened to her sister. However, she did not mean to. Notification. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. How could it be that something had happened to the original owner? He was clearly doing evil. One day he noticed that Tang Xiang was absent-mindedly saying in her room, "Big sister is currently heavily injured and has almost no chance of recovering. How can she become a demoness in the future and kill all righteous cultivators? No, I can't tell Master about this and I can't spread it." This sentence made Yufeng completely give up on the original owner. He was the only one who knew about the primal Chaos Flame Flower, so he did not mention it. He planned to give the Chaos Flame Flower to Tang Xiang when the time was right and help her cultivate a supreme-grade spirit root. The original owner's foundation had been destroyed and his cultivation had dropped greatly. Originally, he was only one step away from reaching the nascent soul stage. Because of this accident, her golden core was shattered, and there was no way for her spiritual root to recover. Her strength fell to the foundation establishment stage and she was no longer the talented young girl. But the original owner was still a very proud person. Even if he became a waste, he didn't give up and kept working hard to cultivate. But now she was no longer that genius. It was impossible for her to have peace. From this day onwards, those who had been angry with her but didn't dare to speak up began to speak ill of her. They bullied her, beat her and mocked her. Every time Tang Xiang tried to interfere, those who gave her face and agreed would find another way to make fun of her. After falling from the altar, experiencing all kinds of things and experiencing life, the original owner seemed to have matured a lot. The way she looked at Tang Xiang was no longer indulgent but cold. But now it was useless. Once when Tang Xiang was helping the original owner finally mocked her. "You don't have to be hypocritical and you don't have to do it for others to see. You've achieved your goal." Tang Xiang didn't panic and her attitude didn't change. She said some very touching words, causing the people around her to criticize the original owner. The original owner didn't care at all. She looked at Tang Xiang with a cold and emotionless gaze. When Tang Xiang annoyed her, she wouldn't say too much or curse her, but she would say, "Don't be hypocritical, I can't threaten you. Before I even draw my sword, the people around me will take the initiative to chop me into minced meat." She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for friends, domain name, Kiankianks. Prompt. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, click on the lower right or upper right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Top. Chapter 3488. No one believed that the original owner wasn't a cruel and merciless person. Everyone only saw Tang Xiang helping the original owner out of trouble time and time again, but the original owner ridiculed her and didn't appreciate it at all. She was clearly a waste, but she still maintained her previous arrogance. Those who were jealous of the original owner's talent and didn't even dare to look at her finally found a chance to break her backbone. However, even though the original owner was a waste in everyone's eyes, her backbone was still as hard as iron. Even when she was beaten and humiliated by others, she never bowed or bent her knees. Tang Xiang persuaded the original owner more than once to go home and cultivate. She said that the original owner would definitely have a place in the family for her sake. The original owner had already seen that Tang Xiang wasn't that simple, and the family Tang wasn't a place for her. Everyone thought that Tang Xiang was a good person, but she was a vicious person. Her family didn't trust her, her blood relatives didn't trust her, and her master, who used to admire her, felt that she was stubborn and unteachable and had long given up on her. Apart from cultivating, apart from that small and narrow room, where else in the world could she fit in? She suffered misunderstandings and humiliation in her life, and she didn't understand how she ended up like this. Even at death's door she couldn't figure it out. She was beaten down and burned to death after falling into the boiling lava. Because her position was in the way, she blocked that person from saving Tang Xiang, who almost fell into the lava. Thus, that person mercilessly slapped her into the lava. At that time she had just condensed her golden core with her own efforts, and that person was already a deity transformation cultivator. Even Tang Xiang was already a late nascent soul cultivator at that time, so how could she really fall into the lava? It was because those people around Tang Xiang couldn't bear to see her in any danger. Notice: the system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Her death didn't even cause a ripple. When cultivators fought for magic treasures, there were always casualties. Death was a normal thing. What made her sad was that the person who threw her into the boiling lava was her brother, Tang Sun. If it had been anyone else running towards her, she would have been on guard, but that person was her brother. Ever since she was 5 years old, her familial ties had been slowly fading away. Even though she had already experienced all kinds of things in her heart, she still longed for kinship. Even though her relatives hated and disliked her, she had never thought that they would mercilessly slap her into the lava for Tang Xiang's sake without the slightest bit of hesitation. At that time she had a stunned and incredulous expression as she allowed her body to fall. She had already forgotten that there was violently rolling magma behind her. With her strength that had just condensed her Jindan, she could not resist at all. If he fell down, he would be submerged in the blink of an eye. She coldly called out, "Big brother." Although that call sounded very cold, it contained endless grievance and resentment. However, Tang Sun did not notice at all. At that time he only knew that Tang Xiang was in danger and wanted to save her. Whoever blocked his way to save his sister would die. Thus, the original owner did not struggle and allowed his body to fall into the magma. He did not even scream. These were all the memories that Tangguo received. Among the emotions in them, hatred was the least. The most were sadness, grievance and sadness. After Tangguo opened her eyes, she did not check her body. Instead, she sat cross-legged in this narrow and dark cave for a long time. The system did not disturb her. He could feel the fluctuations in Tangguo's emotions. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant. Notice: the system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3489. Even though she didn't show it on her face, the shocking sadness in her chest made even the system feel cold. It was as if this place was a world of ice and snow, and the person sitting below was a 10,000-year-old ice. One touch would turn him into an ice man. Tangguo sat quietly in the dark cave for 3 days and finally said, "Tongzi, find me something to eat, I'm a little hungry." The system didn't ask much and hurriedly went to the system's space to search. It didn't take out any big fish or meat, but some light porridge and side dishes. These dishes were the same as they were when they were put into the system space. Time was still in the system space. He placed the food in front of Tangguo, thought about it and took out an ice cream for Tangguo. Although it was a little inappropriate, but he felt that when she was in a bad mood, eating something sweet would definitely make her feel better. Tangguo was eating the side dishes when she glanced at the bowl of ice cream with various flavors. It's becoming more and more like a human. Can the system become a spirit these days? Tangwa didn't say anything. After eating the food, she dug into the ice cream and didn't do anything for a long time. She didn't cultivate and didn't check the condition of her body. She sat outside the cave. This cave was halfway up the mountain and the surroundings looked very desolate. She had already seen all the memories. This was the hiding place of the original owner. After training outside, she would come here to rest. After all, once she entered the sect, she didn't have a moment of peace. She didn't look for trouble, but others insisted on coming. Only in this remote and narrow place, no one would disturb her. This time she fought with others for a magic treasure outside, and after being seriously injured in a fight, she walked all the way. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the bottom right or top right corner, and find the close reading button to complete the content. She fled here. Yes, from the looks of it, everything had already happened. She was still in the foundation establishment stage, and her foundation had been destroyed. It wouldn't be easy for her to condense a golden core again. Now she didn't have any resources and she didn't have any talent. To be able to maintain her current state and not let her cultivation drop and slowly improve was already something that many people couldn't compare to. After silently finishing the ice cream in the bowl, Tangwa checked the condition of her body. On the surface he looked terrible. There were countless sword and saber wounds on his body, both new and old scars. She stretched out her hands. There was a big scar on the back of her left hand. The injury was new. It seemed like the skin had been flipped over and then covered back up. There was a layer of dark scar around it and the whole back of her hand was swollen. With such a degree of injury, as long as there was a high-grade healing pill, it would only take a short while to recover. But she didn't. All of her resources were used to buy spiritual medicine to cultivate and restore her strength. As for this small injury, she could only use her spiritual power to clean it up every day and let it slowly heal. As long as it wasn't a serious injury, it would only take 6 or 7 days to recover. It was just that it hurt a little. However, she was already used to this level of hurt. There was no need for her to endure it. He had basically neglected the things that he had to do. As for Tangwa's right hand, there were also big and small scars on it. It was slightly better than her left hand. There was a thick layer of calluses on the area between her thumb and index finger, perhaps because she had been holding a sword day and night. The clothes on her body were very tattered. It wasn't that she couldn't afford clothes. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, domain name, Kiankianks. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the bottom right corner or the top right corner, and find the close reading button to complete the content. Top. Chapter 3490. It was because she had just finished a fierce battle and immediately started to heal. She didn't have time to change. Even if she changed, there would only be black clothes in her space bag. She remembered that 2 years ago she liked to wear a light blue dress that was the same color as the sky. The reason why she changed was because with her current situation, she wouldn't be able to wear such a beautiful dress for more than half a day before it got dirty or torn. It would be a waste of good things. Tangwa turned back to the cave and lit the candle. With the weak light she could clearly see the layout of the cave. There was a bed of cut earth and on top of it was dried grass. There was a table made of stone that looked very simple. There were countless sword marks on it. It was probably a stone that the previous owner had casually chopped down. It was a little uneven and there was a small stone under it. There was a bowl and a teapot on the table that were covered with a thin layer of dust. There was also a basket of very stale fruits. No, it should be said that they were about to lose their moisture and had dried up. Then she saw a bathtub in the cave. She remembered that there was a stream not far from here. Every time the previous owner healed, she would go there to get water to clean herself. Then she would return to the sect to report. In this world, once you entered a sect, it was very rare to leave it. Also, leaving the sect wasn't easy. If something went wrong, people would think that she had betrayed the sect. People outside would look down on her and no other sect would dare to accept her. The previous owner had never thought of leaving the sect. Whether she left the sect or not, it didn't make a difference to her. If she didn't have a good life in the sect, she wouldn't have a good life outside. In the end, in this world, strength was the most important thing. If she was rooted, notice. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. If her foundation wasn't destroyed, her strength would still be there. As long as she didn't make a huge mistake, the sect wouldn't give up on her. Who would dare to bully her? She had already seen through it and didn't have any intention of leaving. Her whole life she had been thinking and confused about why it was like this. She was confused about why Tang Xiang schemed against her. This was clearly her sister that she loved dearly. Why didn't her family trust her? She didn't know what was going on, but everything was slowly moving away from her. What kept her going on with her cultivation was that she wanted to find out the truth one day. She wanted to find out why Tang Xiang was scheming and let the truth come to light. Unfortunately, she couldn't hold on in the end and chose to give up. Perhaps it was because she was too tired. The moment she was slapped into the magma by her own brother, all her beliefs and hopes of survival were destroyed. Tanggua's injuries had recovered a lot, but there were a lot of bloodstains and scars on the surface. Her body was dirty and there was a strong smell of blood. It was very unpleasant. With the clothes sticking to the body, it was indeed a little uncomfortable. She carried the bucket and went to fetch water to wash her body according to her memory. She was the same as the original owner. Even if she was in a sorry state when she had time, she was still willing to clean herself up. Even if it would get dirty for a while, it was better to be clean for as long as possible. Although the water was cold, Tanggua felt much more comfortable after washing it, even though her heart was still a little stuffy. She hadn't felt this way for a long time and it really made her unhappy. The emotions that were about to overflow at any moment filled her heart and brain. During this period she didn't speak much. After washing her body she began to cultivate. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, prompt. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3491. At this moment the system was surprised. Host, are you not going to cultivate your previous technique? The technique that she came up with to regather the golden core is not bad. She is a peerless genius. I just sorted out my thoughts and think that I can continue cultivating according to the method that she came up with. The system was a little worried. I'm a little worried. What if the cultivation goes wrong? The foundation of this body has been destroyed, but the original owner has been cultivating according to the method that she came up with for a few years. If I want to cultivate my own technique again, I will have to cripple myself again. It will be different from the previous situation. I will cultivate according to her method. If it really goes wrong, I can just cripple myself again. Anyway, my technique is faster to cultivate. The system figured out what was going on. The host said that the original owner was a peerless genius. His host had experienced countless worlds of cultivation. Creating a cultivation method was basically a walk in the park. It wasn't difficult at all. For her to be so sure, it should be because she was confident that the technique was correct. The original owner could regather the golden core even though her foundation was destroyed. Speaking of which, the original owner was really amazing. If there were no accidents, it was hard to say where she would end up in the future. At this point, the system did not try to persuade her anymore. After following the host for so long, it should trust her. The great host never spoke without thinking. Tanggua's current cultivation level was at foundation establishment perfected. When her foundation was destroyed, she fell to foundation establishment beginner stage. It took her a few years to recover to foundation establishment perfected. She was only a step away from attaining the golden core. However, she was someone whose foundation was destroyed. She was not a cultivator who cultivated normally. From the beginning of the accident, she only took a year to recover from foundation establishment beginner stage to foundation establishment perfected. The remaining years had been stagnant. In other words, a person without a foundation would not be able to break through to the golden core stage. This was why cultivation depended on talent. Many people whose cultivation level was lower than hers were already at the golden core stage. As for Tang Xiang, who had average talent, she was already at the golden core stage. The Moon Peak master, who was also her master Yu Heng, had not found a chance to let Tang Xiang consume the mixed yuan flame flower. The value of the mixed yuan flame flower could cause a bloodbath. If Tang Xiang did not contribute anything and was given to her rashly, the sect would be displeased. However, according to her memory, Tangwa knew that Tang Xiang would soon have the opportunity to consume the mixed yuan flame flower. When that time came, her foundation would be cultivated and she would grow a supreme-grade water spirit root. Currently, Tang Xiang had an inferior-grade water spirit root and could barely enter a sect. If it wasn't for Ji Qi's recommendation, she wouldn't have had the chance to become Yu Heng's disciple. Now that she was able to achieve the Golden Core realm, firstly, she had indeed worked harder to cultivate the flying shovel. She was very desperate and could not bear to slack off at all. Secondly, the treatment that the original owner once enjoyed was given to Tang Xiang. This was something that Yu Heng fought for Tang Xiang. Furthermore, Yu Heng Hui had given Tang Xiang many good items in private. It was hard for her not to increase her cultivation. Ji Qi was also very grateful to Tang Xiang, his savior, and indulged her. If it was said that Ji Qi had any feelings of love for Tang Xiang, he didn't. It was just that he treated her as his little junior sister. Furthermore, she was his benefactor, so he indulged her a little more. Especially since Tang Xiang was very sensible, it was impossible for him not to indulge her. After understanding the current situation, Tangwa's spiritual power had circulated for an unknown number of times. The outside world was bright and dark and bright again. Her injuries were almost healed and it was time to return to the sect. Chapter 3492. Tangwa was wearing a black dress. Her hair was all tied up and she was standing on a very clean tree branch. Now she only had cultivation in her eyes and she no longer cared about her appearance. Even though she was as cold as ice in the past, she was still a very beautiful girl. Now she was dressed in black and her body was thin and weak. Her face was thin and her eyes were still cold but more dull and less lively. She no longer had the charm she used to have. At first glance, people would feel that she was ordinary, but after a closer look, they would feel that she was full of thorns and was not easy to get close to. On this road to the sect, one would pass by the family Tang sect. Before the original owner died, she still cared about family ties. Every time she came back from training, she would have a habit of going home. According to the original owner's habit, Tangwa first went to the family Tang sect. As soon as she walked into the town, she was sized up by countless people. These people all knew her. After all, she was once this city's genius girl, the kind that everyone envied. The more those people envied her in the past, the more these people mocked her now. You say the heavens really have eyes. This kind of vicious person will indeed have retribution. For example, talent and whatnot are all given by the heavens. Now that they see that this person is not good enough, they take back their talent. This Tangwa can be considered as an exception to the family Tang sect, right? Who doesn't know that the family Tang sect's tradition is not to harm people of the same clan? It is said that when she was in her prime, she did not show any mercy in every competition. Her brothers and sisters of the same clan were beaten up so badly that they could not get out of bed for a few days. If you ask me, this family Tang sect is kind and considerate and cares about old ties, so they did not chase her out of the family. Also, don't forget that Miss Tang Xiang also interceded for her. I have a relative who entered the absolute beginning sect. Prompt. The system has checked that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. At the primary sect, it is said that Miss Tang Xiang did not mind that she is now a cripple and often took care of her. But she did not appreciate it and even mocked Miss Tang Xiang. You made people angry. You were once a genius. Now that you've become a cripple, you still think that you're a high and mighty genius. You're still so arrogant. In my opinion, it's only because Miss Tang Xiang is magnanimous and merciful that she doesn't care about these things. If she wasn't Miss Tang Xiang's biological sister, she might not have been able to survive in the sect. Moreover, her foundation has been destroyed. Back then she fell to the early stage of the foundation establishment realm. Now she's actually perfected the foundation establishment realm. I wonder how many good things the family Tang and Miss Tang Xiang gave her to be able to pile up her strength to this extent. This time he's most likely going back to the clan to get resources. That's right. He comes back a few times a month and leaves for the sect after staying for less than half a day. If he's not here to get resources, what is he here for? Every time the original owner came back, she would hear these rumors countless times. She was not good with words, and no matter what those outsiders said, she would deny it at first, but no one would believe it. Since no one believed her, she didn't explain anymore. She minded her own business and walked home to visit her parents. At the family Tang gate, the gatekeeper looked at Tanggua and didn't stop her. After all, the family Tang gate had its own traditions. If a gatekeeper ridiculed Tanggua at the gate, it would attract rumors to the family Tang gate, and it would be detrimental to the family Tang gate. However, there was still a lot of contempt and disdain in his eyes. Tanggua went straight to Mother Tang and Father Tang's courtyard according to her memory. As soon as she entered the courtyard, she saw the two of them talking and laughing. I wonder when Xiang'er will come back this month. I'm starting to miss her. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, we're talking about life and looking for confidence. Prompt. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, then click on the lower right corner or the upper right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3493. Mother Tang said with a smile, I'll make more candied fruits later. That girl loves to eat them, so she'll bring them to the sect to eat. I'll also make some other snacks for her to share with her fellow sect members. Speaking of Tang Xiang, Father Tang's smile widened. Just as he was about to speak, he sensed something and looked up to see Tanggua walking to the door. Her smile had disappeared. Mother Tang saw this and did the same. They used to like this daughter very much, but she was naughty by nature and had always been prejudiced against their younger daughter. No matter how many times they tried to persuade her, she wouldn't listen. The news from the sect often made their hearts turn cold, and they didn't want to care about her anymore. Her own sister was so jealous. To be honest, it wasn't a bad thing that she was crippled now. From their point of view, it was her talent that made her think she was infallible and couldn't bear to see others better than her. Father, mother. Tanggua was originally standing at the door, but she called out stiffly before walking towards them. She could feel an emotion rising in her chest, but she didn't intend to suppress it. Where did you run off to this time? Mother Tang asked. Xiang'er sent back a few letters saying she couldn't find you, but you left without a word. When will you be more sensible and think of Xiang'er? Xiang'er is worried about you every day, but you don't care about Xiang'er at all. You even speak to Xiang'er coldly. Do you even act like an older sister? Tang Xiang was worried about her, so she looked for her? Tanggua laughed in her heart. Tang Xiang probably wanted her to die outside, so how could she be worried about her? However, this Tang Xiang was amazing. She was especially good at pretending. Until now, she hadn't revealed any flaws. No one could say anything bad about her. Within 100 miles, who didn't know about the good Tang family girl, Tang Xiang? At the same time, they also knew that she had a cold, heartless, and cruel sister. At this moment. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click the middle of the screen, then the bottom right or top right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. Wait, the original owner already knew that Tang Xiang wasn't a good person. She no longer had any feelings for Tang Xiang. She only felt that Tang Xiang had used all sorts of methods to deceive the people she cared about. She had to work hard in her cultivation and use time to expose Tang Xiang's true colors. Whenever Tang Xiang was mentioned, her face would turn colder. She would also speak coldly. It was always unpleasant to hear and made the couple very unhappy. She won't look for me and she won't worry about me. Tanggua didn't want to break her character for the time being, so she replied according to the temperament of the original owner. Sure enough, the two people's faces both changed. Father Tang's face was filled with anger. Why are you like this? Can't you tolerate your own sister? If it weren't for the fact that we're connected by blood, I would have suspected that you're not my biological child. I'll be leaving first. Tanggua turned around and left. Every time the original owner came back, it was the same. She had always thought that Tang Xiang was too good at lying to her parents. Even though she was sad, she wasn't angry at them. She always remembered how much her parents loved her before she was 5 years old. Every time she recalled that incident, her expression would soften a little. They had been deceived, so she did not blame them. When she was strong enough, she would expose Tang Xiang's true colors. If Tang Xiang didn't admit it, she would search his soul and check his memories to see if he admitted it. She didn't stay for long. Actually, she wanted to stay longer, but if she stayed too long she would make them unhappy. More importantly, she didn't want to see coldness and disgust on their faces. Every time she turned around and left, she would say in her heart that the truth would come out one day. These were her parents, they had just been deceived. Now that she didn't have any evidence, it was useless to explain. She might as well not say anything. Half a day later, Tangguo returned to the mountain gate. As soon as she stepped through the gate, a long whip lashed at her face mercilessly. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting lead, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, domain name, Qiangqianx. Prompt. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen. Click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3494. Whether it was Tangguo or the original owner, they were both particularly sensitive to the impending danger. She had already sensed the whip as soon as it was launched, and her figure quickly jumped to the side. But because the opponent's cultivation was higher than hers, the whip still tore her new clothes. It was only because she dodged quickly that she was not hurt anywhere else. But she did not expect that the person who wielded the whip would not let it go. He chased in the direction that Tangguo was dodging and once again lashed out. The attack was even more ruthless than before. Even from a distance she could feel the coldness of the whip. It was filled with spiritual power. If it hit her body, it would definitely split open her skin and flesh. It was obvious that the person who did this did not care that she was from the same sect. Tangguo was now at the peak of the foundation establishment stage, so the person who did this should be at the early stage of the golden core stage. In this world of cultivation, the difference in cultivation level was huge. Tangguo was able to dodge it all because of her own agility and the original owner's body, which had once reached the peak of the golden core stage. But she was able to snatch the whip of an early stage golden core stage cultivator, but she could not dodge a group of golden core stage cultivators from the same sect. In front of her was the wind of the whip, on the left was a person's fist, and on the right was another person's sword. Not only that, behind her there was a huge man waving two big hammers, smashing towards Tangguo's head. Let's see where you can run to this time. The system was also shocked and hurriedly told Tangguo all the attacks it saw. At this time it was a bit like an ant on a hot pan, unable to do anything. It felt a kind of powerlessness. In this world of cultivation, other than informing Tangguo of the surrounding environment, there was no way to help her do anything else. System prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter is unable to load the content of the next page. Please click on the middle of the screen. Click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. The system said anxiously. But it was useless to be anxious. It had no way to help Tangguo solve this crisis. Through the memory, these people would not beat the original owner to death but would only beat her half to death. In the sect, it was not allowed to harm fellow disciples. Fighting within the sect was against the rules. However, as long as no one reported it and no lives were lost, the executors in the sect would only turn a blind eye to it and would not care about it at all. Those people beat Tangguo until she was half dead and in a sorry state. Of course, they wouldn't tell the enforcers about it. When the original owner was bullied, she tried to find the executors of the sect, but they were all in cahoots. They all said that the original owner was the one who started it, and in the end the original owner was the one who was punished. The reason why the original owner was bullied like this was not because these people hated the original owner, but because the cultivation world was a somewhat deformed world. Without sufficient strength, no matter what one faced, one would have to lower one's head. Even if one were to lose one's dignity and be bullied by the other disciples of the sect, one would have to bear with it. The original owner of the body was a proud son of heaven. Now that he had become a piece of trash, he was despised by everyone. Even his master had given up on him. Now that they were bullying him, they felt a sense of satisfaction in their hearts. Thinking about how she used to be so high and mighty, but now she was a grasshopper that they could step on at will. Moreover, everyone thought that she was not a good person. They were teaching her a lesson to tell her that in the future she had to be a good person. If they beat her up often, she would remember and never make the same mistake again. Tell me, was this reasonable? So what if it was not reasonable? Tangwa quickly dodged the long whip. The sledgehammer behind her brought her a great sense of danger, but she also dodged nimbly. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter is unable to load the content of the next page. Please click on the middle of the screen. Click on the lower right or upper right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3495. Dodging the attacks of 2 Aurus Core Stage cultivators was already her limit. Thus, when the other 2 Aurus Core Stage cultivators attacked, a cultivator's fist landed on her shoulder. First it was a ruthless slap followed by a ruthless claw. She could hear the sound of her shoulder bones breaking. The other Golden Core cultivator's sword also cut her arm. She felt a burning pain and blood instantly spilled onto the ground. The system kept shouting and cursing. If it had eyes, its eyes would have turned red. However, other than shouting and yelling, it couldn't do anything else. It could only ask continuously, "I'm fine." Tangwa replied to the system in her heart, "Don't worry." The system felt that its data was too stable. His emotions were fluctuating so much, but why didn't the data go haywire? The system thought that Tangwa would immediately choose to escape and return to the cave residence. The original owner was useless and could only deal with these people's humiliation and ridicule because she was a good-for-nothing. However, it believed that the great host could escape from these people's attacks. Just now, they had locked onto her in an instant and there was no way to escape. Now that they saw that the great host was injured, they didn't force her like before. Instead, they seemed to be toying with her. Taking advantage of this time, the great host could definitely escape from this place and quickly go back to heal. However, Tangwa had no intention of leaving. She endured the pain in her arm and took out a porcelain bottle. Prompt. The system detected that the next page of the current chapter could not be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. She opened the bottle and poured out a pill from it. The system didn't know what it was. The pill was green and its surface was smooth. Her actions were too fast. Those people only thought that Tangwa ate some healing pill, so they mocked her while teasing her. "You're a good-for-nothing now. Even if you eat 10 bottles of high-quality pills, it's useless. A trapped beast is a trapped beast. Stop struggling. How about this? I see that you're injured. Crawl in from here today and we'll stop. How about that? Actually, I have another idea. I still lack someone to serve me tea. Although you're not as good-looking as before, you're still decent. I don't mind. If you serve me tea, I'll protect you and not let them bully you. Senior Brother Chin, you're interested in such a person? In any case, he was once a proud son of the heavens. What's there to look down on? His appearance isn't as good now, but it's about the same if you take care of him. Besides, he couldn't find anyone suitable in the sect. Even the junior sister who was collecting food in the cafeteria had a low-grade spirit root, which was better than trash, right? He still has to work hard on his cultivation. Where would he find the time to serve me tea? When the system heard these words, it was furious. Unfortunately, he was just a system. No matter how angry he was, he couldn't explode. Furthermore, he couldn't do anything to these people. At this moment, Tangwa made a move. That green pill wasn't hers, it was prepared by the original owner. The original owner had prepared quite a few pills like this. Most people wouldn't dare to take this pill, especially those with good talent. They wouldn't even dare to touch it. After taking this green pill, one's strength would instantly increase by 1 realm. The effect was for 2 hours. She wanted to talk about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down with more like-minded people. Look, we're talking about life and looking for a bosom friend. Domain name, Kiankianks. Prompt. The system found that the next page of the current chapter could not be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3496. Once the effect was over, the meridians and dantian would be damaged to a certain extent, and the 7 orifices would bleed. If it wasn't a matter of life and death, almost no one would use such a pill as it would affect their foundation. However, the original owner's foundation had been damaged long ago, and she had taken this pill many times. Otherwise, how could she, a cultivator who hadn't even reached the gold core stage, go out to look for resources and fight for magic weapons? When she first used it, it did cause her great pain. After using it a few more times, although it still hurt, she had already gotten used to that kind of pain. In particular, she also found that her foundation might have been damaged to a certain extent, so taking this pill wouldn't cause too much of an effect. When the power erupted, Tangwa also felt pain all over her body. That kind of intense pain really cleared her mind. In the blink of an eye, her cultivation had soared to the early stage of the gold core stage. Raising her strength by one realm was enough to deal with these guys in the early stage of the gold core stage. If it wasn't for the fact that this world's cultivation realm suppression was too severe, she wouldn't have chosen this method. Retreat, she had never chosen to retreat. Tongzi, what happened? Did you record it? The system was still blaming itself and feeling guilty. When it heard Tangwa's words, it hurriedly said, "Am I someone who crawls and laughs at people? Am I someone who won't hit back after being hit? These people bullied me. My arm was stabbed and my shoulder bone was crushed by another person. I'm not willing to leave just like that. How can I?" Prompt. The system detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the bottom right or top right corner to find the button Close Reading, to complete the content. Let the other party have a taste of what pain is like. The system asked weakly. Tangwa didn't speak anymore. The four people around her also noticed her sudden increase in strength, and their eyes flashed with astonishment. "You're crazy. You're a good-for-nothing and you still dare to take the spirit explosion pill. Crazy, you think you can beat us just because you took the spirit explosion pill and raised your realm? Dream on, there are four of us." The four people were answered by a cold sword light. Tangwa used a sword. Her figure was like a ghost as she instantly appeared behind one of them. After her strength had skyrocketed, the spiritual energy in her body had multiplied. Naturally, her speed had also increased. The person who had slashed her with his sword didn't even have time to react. He only felt countless flashes of sword light in front of him, and waves of pain came from his arm. He was already resisting, and the other three also attacked Tangwa. The man with the hammer smashed it towards the back of Tangwa's head. Tangwa flipped over and blocked Iron Hammer's attack with her sword. Iron Hammer's strength was very strong, and with the addition of the other two people's attacks, Tangwa could not help but be stunned. One of them lashed her back with a whip while the other aimed a punch at her neck. When his fingers were about to grab her neck, he didn't expect Tangwa to open her mouth and bite his wrist. Half of the flesh on his wrist was bitten off, causing his eyes to bulge out of his head due to the pain. Didn't they say that she was ruthless? Then she would show them what a ruthless character was. She wanted to talk about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down with more like-minded people. Look, talking about life, looking for confidence. Prompt. The system detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the bottom right or top right corner to find the button Close Reading, to complete the content. Chapter 3497. While they were stunned and angry, Tangwa jumped up and stepped on the shoulder of the person who was holding the sledgehammer. She quickly took out a piece of metal from her space bag and smashed it hard on that person's head. She smashed it more than 10 times in a row. Smashing someone with the same level of strength would only severely injure him at most. He would not die, so she was not worried at all. The person who was holding the whip was stunned for a moment. Then he quickly reacted and wrapped the whip around Tangwa's neck again. He succeeded in an instant. He forcefully wrapped his arms around Tangwa's neck and pulled her away. Looking at her flushed face, he used more strength and finally revealed a smile. "Bitch, you're looking for death. See if I don't break your meridians today." Just as he was about to beat up Tangwa, someone said, "Be careful." However, it was too late. A long sword pierced through his wrist from above. Blood spilled all over the ground. He was in so much pain that he immediately let go of the whip. He was going to use his other hand to hold the whip and continue to teach Tangwa a lesson. He even shouted, "I'm going to kill you." Tangwa grabbed the whip and wrapped it around the man's neck. She pulled hard and the man's whole body fell to the ground. Tangwa stepped on the person's heart and said coldly, "Do you want me to die? You deserve to die." She was just a good-for-nothing. She had taken the spirit explosion pill and could only be in the limelight for 2 hours at most. What was there to be afraid of? Although there would be some fights between fellow disciples, if he really killed someone in the sect he would definitely be severely punished. Therefore this disciple was not afraid at all. He did not think that Tangwa would do anything to him. He just needed to wait. When the effect of the spirit explosion pill was over, he would slowly deal with her. With prompt. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, the lower right corner or the upper right corner, and find the button Close Reading to complete the content. He felt that the method he used in the past was too polite. It was true that he could not do anything in the sect. It was better to go outside the sect. He was sure that she would be in serious trouble and regret it for the rest of her life. Tangwa was planning to teach the other party a lesson. She really did not intend to kill anyone here. With her current strength, if she killed a fellow disciple, not to mention the sect's law enforcement elder, even her master who didn't care about her, would personally clean up the sect and kill her. His attack this time was just to teach them a lesson. Stop. At the same time, a powerful force slapped towards Tangwa. She had tried her best to dodge, but the other party was much stronger than her. She was still sent flying with a single slap. She immediately tasted blood in her throat. She pursed her lips tightly as blood continued to flow from the corners of her mouth. Tangwa, how could you harm your fellow disciples? Ji-Chi stepped forward and stared at her with a pair of especially cold eyes. Xiang-er has always said that you're good and often interceded for you. She even saved her own resources for you to cultivate. I think she's wasted her efforts. Even if you recover, you'll just be a person who kills people from the same sect. It's good that you're crippled. Tangwa slowly got up from the ground. Because of that merciless slap, her body was very uncomfortable, but she did not show it on her face. Ji-Chi was her eldest senior brother. He was also the person that the original owner of the body fed him a pill and hit him on the tree branch. Now he was coldly staring at her, his eyes full of disgust as if he was looking at something dirty. By doing this, you don't deserve Xiang-er's efforts. Let her down. Tangwa's voice was cold as she asked. What did she work hard for? What did I do? She wanted to talk about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down with more like-minded people. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, domain name, Qiangqianx. Prompt. The system has checked that the next page of the current chapter is unable to load the content of the next page. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3498. Ji-Chi was a little surprised. It was because Tangwa had said a few more words today. However, he quickly recalled her actions of harming her fellow disciples and disgust rose from the bottom of his heart. In the past, I didn't fuss over this with you because of Xiang. However, I can't do that today. You need to come with me to see the disciplinary elder. If you have anything to say, say it to the disciplinary elder. Even if you call Xiang-er here, you can't do it. You have to accept the punishment for harming your fellow disciples. Eldest senior brother. Tang Xiang appeared and landed in front of Tangwa on her sword. She was dressed in a snow-white dress and looked like a fairy. She anxiously shielded Tangwa behind her. Eldest senior brother. Sister definitely didn't do it on purpose. Why don't we clarify the matter first? I believe that sister definitely wouldn't hurt people for no reason. At this point she looked at the 4 injured disciples who looked particularly miserable. She felt a little guilty for what she had said. Eldest senior brother. Sister can't meet the law enforcement elder. There must be some misunderstanding between sister and these junior brothers. I am willing to compensate these junior brothers. Xiang-er, you're too indulgent of her. Today I personally saw her harming her fellow disciples. You've been protecting her like this, but she doesn't appreciate it at all. She did something wrong and doesn't accept the punishment. As time passes, who knows what she'll do in the future. Ji-Chi indeed thought so. Previously he didn't see the dispute between Tangwa and these disciples. It wasn't a big deal and Xiang-er also pleaded for her, so it was fine. However, today he saw with his own eyes that she was ruthless and merciless. He really didn't know if the disciple with the whip around his neck would have been killed if he had come too late and didn't stop her in time. Eldest senior brother. Tang Xiang looked troubled. She turned to look at Tangwa and then at the disciples. She wanted to say something but was stopped by Ji-Chi. Xiang-er, she might not accept your help. Moreover, although she's your sister, these junior brothers are also your fellow disciples. Today she hurt these junior brothers and has already violated the sect's rules. If she doesn't accept the punishment, it'll be unfair to these junior brothers. I know. Tang Xiang seemed to have understood. She looked at the 4 injured disciples and said, Senior brothers, I'm very sorry. I apologize to you on behalf of my sister. I'm willing to give you all the resources to compensate you. I hope that you can forgive my sister this time and give her a chance. She went to the elder of law enforcement. Hint. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen, click on the bottom right corner or the top right corner to find the button that says Close Free Reading, to complete the content. His life will be gone. Since junior apprentice Sister Xiang has said so, then let's forget about this matter. As long as she doesn't commit it again in the future, there won't be a next time. Tang Xiang was Ji Qi's junior sister and Yu Heng's beloved disciple. He couldn't afford to offend her. Besides, Tangguo would be half dead if she went to the law enforcement patriarch, but they wouldn't be able to deal with her for at least 3 years. Disciples who made mistakes would be sent to the cliff of reflection to reflect on their mistakes for at least 3 years. They didn't want to wait that long. The 100 to 200 lashes from the law enforcement patriarch were only painful for a while. They wanted her to be in pain every day and trample her under their feet like mud. Thank you, senior apprentice brothers. Thank you. Tang Xiang hurriedly took off her space bag and was about to hand it over to the disciples. Tangguo said, Wait a moment. Sister. Tang Xiang turned around and intimately held onto Tangguo's hand. Sister, no matter what, I will stand by your side. I believe that one day you will definitely return to your original self. You will return to the sister who made me proud and protected me behind her back. Now that you can't protect me, let me protect you. Tangguo pushed Tang Xiang away and glanced at her indifferently. She didn't look away. Tang Xiang still had a sincere expression on her face, as if she had always been like this. Sister, I will stand by your side. You're my biological sister. Of course. If I'm not your biological sister, who would be your biological sister? Tang Xiang said. Tangguo nodded lightly. Her voice was slightly stiff as she asked, If I say that they started it first, would you believe me? Tang Xiang hesitated. Her face was filled with embarrassment. But, senior apprentice brother, you already saw. You said that you would stand by my side. Seems like you were lying. Xiang, I already said that she wasn't worth helping. Look at what she said. You helped her out, but she wants to drag you down with her. Sister, I believe that one day, you will return to your original self and become the sister I was familiar with. Tangguo stared at Tang Xiang. Her gaze was still fixed on her. The cold wind blew, messing up the messy hair on her face. She said, I will do as you wish. I will become the me of the past. For some reason, Tang Xiang's heart skipped a beat when she heard this. Tangguo spoke again. I request to see the law enforcement patriarch. She wanted to talk about transmigration, female supporting character, calm down with more like-minded people. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, prompt. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen. Click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the button Close Reading, to complete the content. Chapter 3499. Sister Yu. When Tang Xiang heard that Tangguo wanted to see the disciplinary elder, she panicked. Her face was full of worry. Anyone who saw it would think that she was worried about Tangguo. After all, a few years ago, Tangguo had requested to see the disciplinary elder 3 times. However, she did not get any benefits from those 3 times. Those 3 times were not considered too serious, and with Tang Xiang's pleading, Tangguo was spared from 3 years of cultivation at the Cliff of Reflection and only received 100 lashes. However, these 100 lashes were not pleasant either. It was said that she had to lie down for close to 3 to 5 days each time before she recovered. Did she think that she was still the genius from before? The disciplinary elder would not be biased. Now that she had made a mistake and bullied other disciples, she had to be punished. Sister, why don't we just let this matter go? Tang Xiang grabbed onto Tangguo, her face full of worry. I'm afraid that you'll be whipped again. The disciplinary elder's whip is merciless. You really made me worried the last few times. Tangwa glanced indifferently at Tang Xiang, whose eyes were full of worry. You're afraid that I'll be whipped, so that means you think that this matter is my fault? That I, a foundation establishment cultivator, bullied a few golden core cultivators? How is it not that you bullied us? When they heard Tangwa's words, they were not satisfied. They were not afraid of seeing the disciplinary elder at all. Everyone around them had seen it, and senior brother Ji-Chi could testify that Tangwa was the one who bullied them. When you were fighting in order to bully us, you took the spirit explosion pill. That's right. You were almost at the nascent soul stage in the past. Now that you're at the foundation establishment stage, taking the spirit explosion pill will increase your strength to the golden core stage. Who doesn't know that you were able to kill people above your level? We just entered the golden core stage not long ago, and you already have the strength of a golden core stage cultivator. Dealing with us is a piece of cake. That's right, that's right. Prompt. The system has detected that it is unable to load the next page of the current chapter. Please click on the middle of the screen, click on the bottom right or top right corner, and find the close reading button to complete the content. If senior brother Ji-Chi hadn't arrived in time, I don't know if I would have lost my life to that whip. If it wasn't for senior brother Ji-Chi's help, I don't think you would have shown mercy on account of us being from the same sect. Originally, for the sake of junior apprentice sister Xiang, I will let this matter go. Now that you want to see the law enforcement elder, how can we be afraid of you? So be it. Let's go together. Qin Zhao then said to Tang Xiang, junior apprentice sister Xiang, it's not that we don't want to give you face, but she thinks too highly of herself. I'm sorry for offending you. He made it sound as if Tangwa had really done something wrong and they would not pursue the matter for Tang Xiang's sake. Now that she did not know what was good for her, they could only offend Tang Xiang and go to see the disciplinary elder. Senior Marshal Brother Qin, please wait a moment. Tang Xiang wanted to grab Tangwa and say something, but she was unexpectedly pushed away by Tangwa. This action made Ji-Chi unhappy. Xiang, since she doesn't appreciate it, then forget it. If she wants to see the law enforcement elder, then let her go. Let's see what benefits she can get from the law enforcement elder. From Ji-Chi's point of view, Tang Xiang's temperament was not good. When he was glorious, he did not care about Tang Xiang, his biological sister. When he was in dire straits, he was full of remorse and felt that Tang Xiang was hypocritical. Everything was just because she could not bring herself to do it. Ever since many years ago, because she wanted to steal the credit of saving his life, he rarely interacted with her. Even if they met, he would only treat her as invisible, let alone talk to her. Every time he spoke to her, it was because he had no choice but to speak. If he did not speak, Xiang would probably be bullied by her. He wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female supporting character, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, domain name, Qianqianx. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter is unable to load the contents of the next page. Please click on the middle of the screen, click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. Chapter 3500. The other party was so fearless because Xiang cared about her sister. If she was really innocent, why did everyone in the sect dislike her? He could often hear that she was bullying people in the outer sect. Tang Xiang would occasionally mention Tangwa in the peak, complaining that no matter what she did, she could not help her. Every time she went out, Xiang would look for spirit treasures, hoping to find a spirit medicine that could restore Tangwa's foundation. Every time Xiang gave her pills and spirit medicine, the other party would coldly reject her. She did not appreciate her kindness at all. Why are you so sure that it's my fault? Tangwa pushed Tang Xiang away and walked towards the disciplinary hall. Qin Zhao, come with me to see the disciplinary elder. Junior sister Xiang, watch carefully. I didn't care about it because of you. Since she doesn't appreciate it and wants to suffer, then don't blame me. Tang Xiang looked at Tangwa's back and did not know what to say. In the end, she told Ji-Chi that she was very worried and chased after Tangwa. At this time, Ji-Chi would definitely not leave her alone. Of course he would follow her. Eldest senior brother, you have to intercede for me later. Ji-Chi's face was cold. Xiang, only you care about this friendship. She doesn't care at all. Why do you have to do this? In the end, she's my sister. But she has never treated you as her sister. No matter how much you do, she will only resent you and will not remember your good deeds. He's too competitive. He wants to be first in everything. Now that she can't be first, she will still think that it's your fault. Sister will return to her original state. Jiqi found it laughable. Return to her original state? What did she mean by returning to her original state? Xiang, I don't want her to return to her original state. She is a vengeful person. If she wants to regain her previous strength, who knows how many times she will suffer. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen. Click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. Disaster. Tang Xiang was silent. After a while she looked pleadingly at Jiqi. Elder brother, no matter what, you have to help me beg for mercy. At the very least, ask the enforcement elders to be merciful. Don't be too heavy-handed and spare my sister's life. All right, as you wish. Thank you, senior brother. I knew senior brother was the best. For the latest chapter, please visit Transmigration. Female lead, calm down. Qianqian, // Qianqianx. /47/47211 Jiqi thought that no matter what you did, that person would not remember your kindness and would only think that you were an eyesore. Who requested to see me? The enforcement elder and Su Zong looked at the people present. Their gazes swept over Tanggua, Qinzhao and the other three. Clearly, the request to meet the law enforcement elder must have resulted in a fight between the disciples. Under normal circumstances, as long as no lives were involved and the matter wasn't brought to the disciplinary hall, they wouldn't take the initiative to intervene. For the latest chapter, please visit Transmigration. Female lead, calm down. Qianqian, // Qianqianx. /47/47211 Su Zong also noticed Tang Xiang and Jiqi. He still had some impression of Tang Xiang and his face immediately darkened. He remembered that a few years ago, there were 3 cases of disciples making mistakes that left a deep impression on him. It was all because of this Tang Xiang that the disciple who made the mistake was spared from 3 years of facing the wall at the Cliff of Reflection. The other party took advantage of the loophole and made it impossible for him to punish the disciple. Then he also noticed Tanggua. The disciple who made the 3 mistakes seemed to be this disciple. Su Zong raised his eyebrows. Was it her again this time? The previous 3 times were also very interesting. She didn't seem to appreciate it and said that she was willing to go to the Cliff of Reflection. In the end, it was that Tang Xiang who asked Jiqi to knock her out and take her away. He wanted to chat with more like-minded people about transmigration. Female lead, calm down. Look, talking about life, looking for a confidant, domain name, Qianqianx. Prompt. The system has detected that the content of the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the lower right or upper right corner to find the Close Reading button to complete the content. Top. Chapter 3501. As the disciplinary elder, this was the first time he had seen such a thing. It's me who wants to see the disciplinary elder. Tanggua spoke up. She recognized Su Zong from her memory. Su Zong was a rigid person who only recognized evidence. Whoever had sufficient evidence, he would punish them. As for whether they were wrongly accused or not, that was none of his business. It sounded cold, but now she wanted a disciplinary elder like Su Zong. It's you again. I remember, what injustice did you have this time? Su Zong asked. He glanced at Qinzhao and the others. Sufficient evidence. Don't be the one to be punished in the end. Even if you can't go to the Cliff of Reflection, those who come to the disciplinary hall with sufficient evidence will receive at least 50 lashes. After a few years he thought that she had long lost her drive. Looking at her sorry state and the appearance of Qinzhao and the others, it seemed that she was still a thorn. This was not like their sect's people. How could there be such a person in their sect who was so stubborn? I want to sue Qinzhao and the others for attacking me without regard for their fellow sect members. Tanggua said. Her voice was still cold and stiff. Even if her enunciation was clear, it could be felt that she was a person who did not speak much. Between each word there was almost no fluctuation. Your injuries are indeed very serious. Su Zong nodded. It seems that your battle was very intense. The system suddenly felt that this disciplinary elder was here to be funny. Elder Sue, don't listen to their nonsense. It's obvious that she relied on her richer experience and took the spirit explosion pill to suppress the four of us. Look, the injuries on my body were all caused by her. Elder Sue, look at my head. She hit it with a piece of iron. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. She hit me more than 10 times without mercy. After taking the spirit explosion pill, she has the strength of the golden core stage. Look at my head, it's been smashed by her. Also, the injuries on my body are also. Elder Sue, look at my neck. Qin Zhao raised his head and stretched his neck out for Su Zong to see. Elder Sue, do you see the deep scar on my neck? She was the one who used the whip to strangle me. If senior brother Ji Qi had not arrived in time, I would have been strangled to death by her. Ji Qi nodded. Indeed. When I arrived, she was using her whip to wrap around junior martial brother Chen's neck. If I hadn't stopped her, even if junior martial brother Chen didn't die, he wouldn't have had a good time. For the latest chapter, please visit Transmigration. Female lead, calm down. Qianqian, // Qianqianx. It wasn't that Su Zong could predict what would happen in the future. It was just that the previous 3 incidents had left a deep impression on him. Tang Xiang pursed her lips and said in a low voice, "When this disciple went, everything was over and I didn't see anything. I only saw that elder sister, senior brother Qin, and a few others were injured. There should have been a conflict." After saying this, she stole a glance at Tanghua, as if she was trying to explain to Tanghua that she couldn't lie through her teeth. She could protect him, but she couldn't help him lie. Chapter 3502. Su Zong didn't make a decision immediately. He was looking forward to this troublemaker giving a different answer. It had been several years since those 3 incidents. During this time he had heard that she had clashed with some disciples and was beaten very badly. But other than the first 3 times, she didn't apply to come to the disciplinary hall again. It was obvious that she had given up on coming to the disciplinary hall to seek justice for herself. Perhaps she was disappointed in this place and thought it was useless. Or maybe she had accepted her fate and didn't want to resist anymore. He only thought of these 2 possibilities. He never thought that she would actually step into this place. Judging from the injuries on Qin Zhao and the others, her spirit hadn't diminished at all. Therefore this made Su Zong very interested. It had been a long time since such an interesting thing had happened in the sect. A former genius was crippled, but she didn't accept her fate. She cultivated to the peak of foundation establishment and looked like she was about to condense a golden core. But she should have failed many times, right? Interesting, too interesting. Junior Xiang, no matter how you plead this time we won't agree. Qin Zhao said, she hasn't been to the Cliff of Reflection, so let her try it herself. Taichu Sect's Cliff of Reflection wasn't an ordinary Cliff of Reflection. Any disciple who went there had to shed a layer of skin. Senior Qin, can you? Tang Xiang still wanted to say something, but Tanghua interrupted her. Tanghua only said one word. Yes. When this word fell, all eyes in the disciplinary hall fell on her. Yes. Qin Zhao's heart also jumped. It couldn't be, right? The conflict between them didn't have any warning at all. The other party shouldn't have prepared anything in advance. As for the image stone, Qin Zhao wasn't worried. In the current cultivation world, image stones were hard to find. This was Zong. Prompt. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. How could a little trash disciple get something that even the sect master might not have? Tang Xiang was also speechless for a moment. She looked at Tanghua in confusion. Disciplinary elder Su Zong made a sound of surprise. This was both expected and unexpected. Since you have evidence, then take it out. Su Zong said, as long as there is sufficient evidence, this elder will fairly enforce the sect's rules. For the latest chapter, please visit female supporting character, calm down. Qianqian, / Qianqianx, /47/47211 image stone? It's an image stone. Dear readers, I'm the author Du Liao. Recently, due to the feedback from many readers, I'm recommending a free app. It supports downloading and listening to books with zero advertisements. You can almost find all the books. For more information, please spend half a minute to follow the WeChat public account bookfinding magic tool, Zaishishenki, search for and add a public account, then follow the instructions. Readers, please pay attention to it. Qin Zhao's face instantly turned pale. How could this trash have such a precious item like the image stone? Could it be that the other party's luck was so good that she actually managed to obtain a piece? Tang Xiang looked at Tang Guo in shock. Tang Guo raised her head and glanced at her indifferently. This glance seemed to have seen through something, causing Tang Xiang's expression to turn sluggish. Chapter 3503. Everyone had already seen it, especially Su Zong, who saw it clearly. Before taking the spirit explosion pill, Tang Guo would have been beaten to the ground if not for her good movement skills. Jiqi also saw it. One of Tang Guo's arms was still dripping with blood. One of Qin Zhao's forehead stabbed her with a sword. The other shoulder bone seemed to have been crushed. But what surprised him was that after all this she did not even frown. She was still so calm and chose to take the spirit explosion pill in the end. The reason why she used the whip to wrap around Qin Zhao's neck was because Qin Zhao had used the whip to wrap around her neck first. Speaking of which, it was not his way but his body, so it was not wrong. Ji Qi frowned again. He was not used to this kind of truth, but he did not refute it. In the image stone, there was still the image of him mercilessly giving her a slap in order to stop her. Ji Qi wanted to say that it was his fault this time. Tang Guo said, "Elder Su, the image stone recorded the images of the people who attacked me. How many people were there in total?" 5 people. As soon as Tang Guo opened her mouth, Su Zong immediately understood and laughed in his heart. Indeed, he did not see that she had come prepared. Very interesting. Then can I sue them? Now that there is sufficient evidence? Su Zong replied, "There is sufficient evidence. You can sue them. This incident happened because Qin Zhao attacked you first. Ji Qi gave you a slap without asking for a reason. It was also his fault." "Sister." Tang Xiang had unknowingly tugged on Tang Guo's sleeve. "Sister, I'm sorry. I should have believed you. It's just that eldest senior brother really did not know. At that time, it was inevitable that people would misunderstand." Tang Guo shook off Tang Xiang's hand. "He hit me. Notification. The system has detected that the next page of the current chapter cannot be loaded. Please click on the middle of the screen and click on the bottom right or top right corner to find the close reading button to complete the content. You're not my biological sister. You shouldn't be on my side. He hit me. Why are you speaking up for him? Just because he didn't do it on purpose?" If this person wasn't Tang Xiang but someone else, Tang Guo might have asked Ji Qi to give Tang Xiang a slap to see if it hurt. However, this person was Tang Xiang. Tang Xiang would definitely be willing to take this hit. If word got out, she would be in the wrong. "If it's possible, I'm willing to take this palm strike for you. It's better for it to hit me than to hit you." Tang Xiang looked at Tang Guo pleadingly. "Eldest senior brother has always taken good care of me. This is really a misunderstanding. As long as big sister doesn't sue eldest senior brother, you can hit me as many times as you want. I'm willing to take it." For the latest chapter, please visit Transmigration. Female lead, calm down. Qian //. How old was the original owner at that time? How could she be a match for the other party? Especially this Tang Xiang. He was not obsessed with men at all. Everything she did was for her own benefit. It looked like she was suffering, but in fact, it would make everyone stand by her side. "You didn't hit me, so why should I hit you?" He was punished because he attacked me, a disciple of the same sect, without asking for a reason. He deserves to be punished. Book friends, I'm the author Du Lao. Recently, many readers have reported that they can't find any books to read, so I'm kindly recommending a free app. It supports downloading and listening to books with zero advertisements. You can find almost any book. For more information, please spend half a minute on WeChat's official account, Book Finding Divine Tool, Zaishishenki, search for and add the official account, then follow the instructions. Book friends, please pay attention. Tang Guo said, "So what you're saying is that because he took care of you, he accidentally made a mistake and shouldn't be punished? This is the sect's punishment hall. If everyone in the sect thinks the same way as you, why would this place exist?" Big sister, Chapter 3504. That's right. If you make a mistake, you have to be punished. If you want to cry, you can cry later. Be more appropriate. Su Zong spoke and looked at Qin Zhao and the other three. Now that the evidence is conclusive, the four of you took the initiative to cause trouble and attacked a fellow disciple. You will be punished with 150 lashes and face the wall for 5 years. Yujichi. Su Zong was not afraid of Yu Heng. To be honest, he had been particularly idle these years. When the disciples of the sect had conflicts, there were fewer and fewer people who took the initiative to complain to him. They all settled it privately, leaving him with nothing to do. You attacked a fellow disciple without asking for the reason. Considering the actual situation, it was to protect a fellow disciple. Therefore, you will be punished with 100 lashes and face the wall for 1 month. After punishing them, a smile appeared in Su Zong's eyes. However, it was fleeting, as if he was afraid of being seen by others. After being idle for so long, everyone thought that the torture chamber no longer existed. It was fine if it did not open, but the moment it opened, it punished 5 people. Awesome. Tanguo also felt that Su Zong seemed to be particularly happy. However, this was not important. Anyway, she had achieved her goal. The whipping punishment was carried out immediately. When she saw Ji Qi being beaten, Tanguo reminded Tang Xiang, "You can cry now. It's appropriate." Tang Xiang opened her mouth and was somewhat speechless. She only revealed a very disappointed expression, as if saying, "How did you become like this?" Tanguo stood beside the 4 people who were being punished and watched with her own eyes as the disciples who were administering the punishment whipped Qin Zhao and the other 3 as well as Ji Qi. They didn't show any mercy. The 5 whipping disciples were all disciples of the Su sect. Like Su Zong, they did not open the torture chamber, or they only opened it once in a while. They were so bored that their balls hurt. Now that they could finally move their legs, it was indescribably satisfying. How could they be merciful? Moreover, they had seen the video just now. They would not be merciful. Therefore, in a short while, the few of them were beaten until their flesh was lacerated. When they were being punished, they were not allowed to wear any defensive Dharma treasures. They could only wear ordinary clothes. Their clothes were torn and their bodies were covered in blood. Qin Zhao and the other 3 cried out in pain, but Ji Qi did not make a sound. Tang Xiang finally burst into tears. She looked at him guiltily. It was just as Tanguo had said. It was especially fitting for the occasion. Tanguo stood in front of them like a wooden stake. Su Zong stood beside her. "Did you feel good?" "It's all right. Looks like it's not satisfying enough." Su Zong said, "If you get bullied next time, you can come and complain." Tanguo raised her head to look at Su Zong and heard him say, "The cliff of reflection and the torture chamber are both very empty. There's no one there." "Tanguo, I heard that quite a few people from the sect beat you up for no reason. How about we send them all here?" Su Zong said, "Don't worry, this place won't be able to hold them all. There aren't many people in the disciplinary hall." Tanguo paused for a moment before saying, "I'll do my best." Hearing this, Su Zong wanted to laugh out loud, but he was usually a very serious person, so he held back. "I didn't expect you to appear here," Su Zong said lightly. "Right, you're badly injured. Go back and treat your wounds. Look at your arm, it's no different from a broken arm." Tanguo knew that her injuries were indeed serious. The bones in her shoulder were broken and sunken in. Her other arm, because of the excessive blood loss, was a little weak. She did not have any strength in her hand. Also, the effect of the spiritual explosion pill was about to wear off. When the time came, she would feel the pain of her meridians exploding inch by inch. It would be like being burned by fire. Her 7 orifices would bleed. Not only would it look terrifying, her body would be very weak and in pain. Believe in a while. Su Zong saw that Tanguo was watching the 5 people being tortured and understood that she wanted to finish watching. He could not help but shake his head. Did this girl take the bursting spirit pill just to help him vent his anger? Geek. Chapter 3505. Not many people could bear the consequences of using the spirit explosion pill. Even if she only wanted to give it her all, Su Zong still admired her. However, from their discussion just now, he did not think that she would cut off her own path of retreat. He probably had other plans. While Qin Zhao and the others were being tortured, they accidentally raised their heads and found that Tanguo didn't care about her injuries. She just stared at them with her black grape-like eyes without blinking. She didn't even have the slightest reaction, which made them feel a chill in their hearts. Ji-chi was relatively strong. 100 whips were only minor injuries to him. However, he was not allowed to use any spiritual energy to resist. The whips were naturally painful. He felt Tangua's gaze and could not help but look up to meet her eyes. He thought that he would see her proud or happy face. However, she only stood there like a wooden stake, solemnly watching him being tortured. Her eyes were cold and emotionless. Even after he was finished being tortured, she did not show any signs of pleasure. This made Ji-chi very puzzled. Tangua only planned to leave after she saw the 5 of them being tortured and covered in blood. Qin Zhao and the others would be locked up for 5 years while Ji-chi would be locked up for a month. He still had to watch the 5 of them being locked up. Qin Zhao thought that she was crazy. Could it be that she had finally gone crazy after being beaten so many times? Ji-chi dragged his injured body to the cliff of reflection under Tang Xiang's tearful gaze. Eldest senior brother, I will come and pick you up in a month. What do you want to eat? I will make it for you when you come out. Ji-chi subconsciously looked at Tangua and saw that the spirit explosion pill had lost its effect. He saw that her footsteps were heavy and her brows were slightly furrowed. Then bright red blood continuously flowed out of her mouth, eyes, ears, nose and mouth. Even so, she was still looking in his direction as if telling him not to accuse her. This was the consequence of hurting her without knowing the truth. For a moment, Ji-chi felt that this was a little funny. However, he wanted to laugh but he could not. This time he had indeed wronged her. However, she was usually so evil. How would she know the truth? Thinking of this, Ji-chi could not help but think of the past. If it was really like this every time. No, how could it be possible? Ji-chi hurriedly threw away this thought. I know you resent eldest senior brother and big sister. How I wish everything could return to the past. I really miss the past. Tangua retracted her gaze and turned to leave. Her cold voice came back. Really? Of course it's true. Sister, why don't you believe me? Alright, stop bothering her. Are you really her biological sister? Suzong asked curiously. Can't you tell that her spirit explosion pill has lost its effect? The more she spoke, the more energy she would have to expend. If you really care about her, then don't disturb her recovery. Seeing that Tang Xiang was about to run out in a hurry, Suzong's voice rang out. I think you don't care about her. Instead, you seem to sympathize with her on the surface, but in your heart, you can't wait for her to get worse and worse. This elder has seen a lot of people like you who are two-faced. People like you who are both righteous and upright are indeed rare. Tang Xiang turned around and said, Elder Su, don't accuse others. I'm more worried about her than anyone else. It's just that big sister is stubborn and will never listen. Hurry up and scram. Don't pretend. Don't try to act like this in front of this elder. Whether it's sincere or fake, this elder has seen a lot. You can't fool this elder. This elder is too lazy to care about your trivial matters. Scram. This place is small. Peek. Chapter 3506. Since Elder Su has such a deep misunderstanding of me, I won't disturb you any further. Even so, Tang Xiang smiled faintly and left as if she wasn't angry at all. Su Zong frowned. How could she win against this person? He didn't know what would happen in the future. Tangua returned to her cultivation cave, but Tang Xiang didn't come to find her. But soon the news spread in the sect. Those people were talking about how Tang Xiang was worried about Tangua and asked Yu Heng for healing pills. What happened? Yu Heng asked. Tang Xiang explained everything in detail without hiding anything. Master, don't blame elder sister. She was wronged in her heart, so she vented her anger on senior brother. Now that sister was injured by the spirit explosion pill, I hope that you can give her a top-grade healing pill to heal her. Since she chose to take the spirit explosion pill, she should bear the consequences. After hearing the whole story, Yu Heng didn't go to the cliff of reflection to rescue Ji-chi. After all, Ji-chi was indeed impulsive and made a mistake. As for the healing pill, he wouldn't give it to him. Tang Xiang went to Tangua's cave. On the way, someone asked her about the situation. She said that she didn't ask for any top-grade healing pills, so she could only give her sister one upper-grade and a few middle-grade healing pills. However, no one answered the door. She could only return in disappointment. Dear host, this Tang Xiang is chasing after you relentlessly. The plot didn't mention whether she transmigrated or was reborn, right? Indeed it didn't. The system also found it strange. Dear host, is there a problem? It's not like this hasn't happened before. After all, accidents always happen in the plot. Don't you think that everything is too coincidental? The original owner's fate started to change when she was 5 years old. Then she saved Jiqi. Tang Xiang appeared and picked him up. When they were in danger, Tang Xiang was still very weak. She couldn't pull the two of them back. She didn't panic at all, as if she knew that she wouldn't die. Tanggua analyzed. And from the memory, I also felt that she didn't use any strength to pull them back. Don't you think it's strange? In the end, an Exen was pulled away by a mysterious force. All this shows that she knew what would happen. So, she was reborn. The system was a little confused. However, her performance has always been average and she hasn't encountered any great opportunities. This doesn't seem like someone who has been reborn. Don't most people who have been reborn try to seize all the opportunities first, and then start on the path of being awesome and killing everyone? I saved an important person and entered a large sect. Wasn't it important that she didn't abandon Yu Heng when she was in danger? As long as Yu Heng was here, she wouldn't have to worry. Didn't Yu Heng give her the mixed essence flame flower? Isn't this considered a fortuitous encounter? Also, Tang Xiang has a low-grade water spiritual root. Do you think it would be easy for her to snatch those resources in this world if she didn't have other fortuitous encounters? From the looks of it, Tang Xiang is indeed very suspicious. There is indeed no such coincidence. According to the great host's analysis, it is very likely that she has been reborn. Yes. Unfortunately, this is the world of cultivation. Tang Xiang's room is blocked by various restrictions. I can't spy on her secretly. The system was a little vexed. It was fine outside as there weren't any restrictions. But in the world of cultivation, as long as a cultivator's residence had many caves, there would be various restrictions. After all, it was just a system. It hadn't reached such a heaven-defying level. There's no hurry. I'll recuperate first and cultivate according to the original owner's train of thought. I feel that I just need an opportunity to condense my golden core again. Peak. Chapter 3507. Qin Zhao and the other three had attacked Tanggua for no reason and were ruthless. They were punished with 150 lashes and 5 years at the Cliff of Reflection. In less than half a day, the news had spread throughout the Absolute Beginning sect. No one missed the fact that Jiqi had been punished for hitting Tanggua without asking for the reason. In an instant, the name Tanggua had spread throughout the sect. Many people remembered that a few years ago, Tanggua was still that unreachable talented disciple. At that time, every time they heard rumors about her, it was about her defeating someone, breaking through, getting first place in the trial, and so on. Ever since she had become a cripple, when they heard about Tanggua again, it was because her foundation had been destroyed that she had become extremely irritable and often got into conflicts with the sect disciples. How could they have seen these things with their own eyes? Since everyone spread the news like this, the truth must be like this. If it wasn't like this, there would definitely be voices saying otherwise, right? Now that Tanggua had caused such a big incident, it was indeed shocking. Especially since Jiqi had also been punished. They remembered that Jiqi was Tanggua's eldest senior brother. This matter was somewhat interesting. Everyone knew that the disciplinary hall only cared about evidence and nothing else. As long as you had sufficient evidence, it was the same no matter who went there. The disciplinary elder, Su Zong, was a reasonable person. The evidence was conclusive. After entering the disciplinary hall, no one could think of getting someone out until the punishment was over. Junior sister Xiang, why was senior brother Jiqi punished to the Cliff of Reflection for a month? I heard that he was even whipped. What exactly happened? Tang Xiang was very popular in the sect. Whether it was Jiqi or Tanggua, they were all people close to her. After this incident, many people came to ask her about it. It wasn't that they were worried about Jiqi, but that they were curious and wanted to know. They just wanted to gossip. In the past, they were used to hearing about the once proud son of heaven being in dire straits. Now that he had suddenly won a round, how could they not be curious? Tang Xiang didn't hide anything and told them about the matter. Eldest senior brother was just anxious to save someone and was a little impulsive. I know that sister was wronged and felt wronged, so she applied to see the disciplinary elder. I don't know why senior brother Qin and the others attacked sister for no reason. When they come out, I must ask them clearly. Isn't that simple? He must have held a grudge for a long time. This time they were just unlucky. Tangwa happened to have an image stone in her hands, which recorded their actions. Before this, they might have had some conflict. A disciple said, "Junior sister Xiang, don't you agree? In this world, how could anyone hurt someone for no reason? To be honest, you've really been blinded by kinship. And I suspect that she came prepared this time. She might have predicted that Qin Zhao and the others would make a move on her, so she brought the image stone back. Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence? Junior sister Xiang, your heart is too soft. You care too much about her being your sister. However, she doesn't treat you as her sister at all. Look at how much you've taken care of her all these years. If it weren't for you, she wouldn't have been able to stay in the sect. But what about her? Not only did she not appreciate your kindness, she even spoke coldly to you. She even said that you were hypocritical and pretentious. That's right. I think you should just leave her alone. She doesn't even care about her own eldest senior brother. If anything happens in the future, she will definitely harm you." Tang Xiang's eyes flashed with fear, but she quickly suppressed it. No, sister wouldn't do that. Chapter 3508. Junior sister Xiang, I advise you to be careful. I've seen her before and she's very ruthless. Don't be fooled by the fact that she's only in the foundation establishment stage. All these years she's been training outside. Many people have died in her hands because of snatching resources. For some reason, the news of Tangwa killing countless people when she was out training also spread like wildfire in the sect. This news even reached the ears of the Yu Peak's peak master, Yu Heng. One day Yu Feng called Tang Xiang over. "Master, you're looking for me?" Yu Heng looked at the delicate and kind little disciple in front of him and sighed. "Xiang, don't interact with her too much in the future." "Master, she's my biological sister." Tang Xiang said stubbornly. "I should take care of her." "Xiang, your cultivation has been stagnant for a year. Ever since her accident, although your cultivation has been improving, it has slowed down. Don't tell me you didn't notice anything?" Yu Heng said. He remembered that Tang Xiang had been awakened from her meditation several times and the words she muttered were all about Tangwa. From the scattered words he came to a conclusion. Tangwa was going to turn into a demon and kill many people in the future. She would kill her parents, disciples of the sect, him, Yu Feng's people, and Xiang. Now that the other party's talent was crippled, he was more at ease. "Xiang, there are some things you know in your heart. Don't be blinded by the superficial affection. With her current situation, the path she will take in the future is destined to be separated from you. Everyone has their own opportunities. You should have your own path. Don't keep thinking about the past. Otherwise, your cultivation will be stagnant for the rest of your life. Master, let Xiang think about it. Think about it carefully. If you don't let it go, it will affect your cultivation. If you worry about her, she might not appreciate it. Moreover, she's also a disciple of the sect. As long as she doesn't leave the sect, no one can threaten her life. Why do you have to do those things?" Yu Heng said this because he felt that Tang Xiang should not be destroyed because of Tangwa. He had not given away the mixed yuan flame flower in his hand, which made him a little distressed. There were two reasons why he did not give it away. Firstly, Tang Xiang and Tangwa were entangled. If he gave it away, Tang Xiang might give the primordial chaos flame flower to Tangwa. Secondly, if Tang Xiang did not have any contributions to the sect, even if the item belonged to him, it would be hard to avoid gossip if he gave it to the other party. With Xiang's temperament, she might not be able to bear it and it would affect her cultivation. However, he was not in a hurry. There would be plenty of opportunities. Before that, he would let Tang Xiang temper her temper and wait for the day when the time was right. About 10 days later, Tangwa's injuries were completely healed. Sure enough, it was just as she had expected. After taking the spirit-bursting pill, the side effects were a little more severe. Other than that, there were no other effects. Her cultivation level was still at the peak of the foundation establishment stage. She was unable to break through the barrier and condense the golden core. She wasn't in a hurry. She felt that she could find a way out. According to the habits of the original owner, she would stay in the sect for a few days, receive her monthly allowance and then go out to gain experience. With her current qualifications, she could only receive a small amount of Moon Peak. However, it was better than nothing. Originally, as Yu Heng's disciple, if Yu Heng took care of her, the amount of moon peak would not be so little. At least, as Yu Heng's master, he would more or less give his disciple some resources. However, ever since she entered the moon peak, Yu Heng was more or less prejudiced against her. Other than one thing that a master must do, he did not do anything else. Chapter 3509. After her foundation was destroyed, the original owner was a proud person and would not ask for resources from Yu Heng. She felt that Yu Heng did not like her and would rather work outside. Tangwa chose to go to the snow mountain this time because she had ice spiritual roots. There were many spiritual herbs that were beneficial to ice spiritual roots growing in the snow mountain. Moreover, it would be more beneficial for her to find a place with abundant spiritual energy to cultivate. The moment Tangwa stepped out of the mountain gate, someone stopped her. It was a big guy who looked aggressive and scary. The person who stopped Tangwa hesitated when he saw that she did not speak. Tangwa saw that this person looked silly and hesitant, so she asked, "What's the matter?" "I came to beat you." This person was called Shou Ru. He had just stepped into the golden core stage not long ago. When Tangwa asked him this question, he said it. Tangwa asked again, "Then why didn't you do it?" Coincidentally, Elder Su Zong said that there were not many people in the punishment hall and they wanted to have a lively scene. If anyone came to beat her, she would report them and send them over. She had plenty of image stones and was never short of them. After all, if bad people did bad things, she had to record their actions, didn't she? Shou Ru scratched his head and said in distress, "On the way here, I've been thinking about why I hit you." Hearing this, Tangwa almost burst out laughing. But when she remembered her character setting, she quickly held it back. Her face was very serious and she looked very cold. "You thought about it?" "No." Shou Ru shook his head. "I didn't think about why I hit you." He looked distressed. "Why did I hit you? Then why did you come?" Tangwa asked again. She felt that this person was somewhat interesting. She narrowed her eyes slightly. There was a faint familiar aura on him, but that aura was not strong. This made it difficult for her to judge. "I also don't know why I came." Shou Ru thought of something and said seriously, "They said that if I didn't come, they would hit me. And then you came to hit me?" No, I didn't hit you. I didn't hit you." Shou Ru quickly refuted, as if admitting this would cost him his life. "Did they beat you?" Shou Ru nodded. "They often beat me. Fortunately, I can take a beating. No matter how serious the injury is, it will be fine in 2 days. Never seen you before. I used to light the fire in the cafeteria." Shou Ru smiled innocently. "I still don't know why I would hit you. I'll go back first." After saying that, he secretly glanced at Tangwa and muttered, "I won't hit you. System, there's something wrong with this kid's brain. If you don't hit me, you'll be hit. Aren't you afraid of being hit?" Shou Ru laughed again. He laughed foolishly and patted his chest, saying, "I can take a beating. I'll be fine in 2 days." He also felt strange. He was not afraid of those people beating him, so why did they come? "You're really not afraid of being beaten?" "I can take a beating." Shou Ru was afraid that Tangwa wouldn't believe him, so he added, "Why don't you try hitting me?" System, where did this big idiot come from? But she felt that the great host was about to burst out laughing. The great host was the kind of person who would smile whenever something happened. It was really difficult for her to pretend to be cold and aloof. She didn't know when this character would collapse. "What's your name?" Tangwa had a plan in mind. She felt that if she didn't trick those people who wanted to bully her, it would be a waste of her words. Even her character almost collapsed. Chapter 3510. Shou Ru. "Oh, it's Senior Brother Zhou. Senior Brother Zhou, do you know that it's wrong to beat people up for no reason?" Shou Ru nodded. "I know. Do you like being beaten?" Shou Ru shook his head. "Oh, it hurts." Although he recovered quickly, it still hurt. "Senior Brother Zhou, do you want to teach those who beat you a lesson? Let them be punished." Zhou Ru's expression was still silly. He asked with interest, "Do you have any good ideas?" "I have some things here. If Senior Brother Zhou uses them well, you can send them all to the Cliff of Reflection." A space bag appeared in Tangwa's hand and she stuffed it into Zhou Ru's hand. "This is an image stone. When Senior Brother Zhou goes back this time, if they ask you if you beat me, just say no. If you don't know the reason for beating me, they will beat you. Perhaps senior martial brother Zhou will have to suffer some physical pain. I'm not afraid of being beaten. Zhou Ru's expression was still silly. When he heard this, he seemed to think that it was possible and did not question it. Good. There are image stones inside. Senior brother Zhou used them well. Do you know how to hide things? No, just hide them. Don't let anyone find them. I know how to hide. I secretly hid a lot of things. No one can find them. Zhou Ru said proudly. They wanted to rob me before, but they didn't find anything. Tenghua nodded. She gave this to Zhou Ru because of the faint aura on his body. Whether it failed or succeeded, she would not lose anything. If she succeeded, there should be a lot more people at the Cliff of Reflection when she came back from her training. What's your name? Where are you going? My name is Tenghua. I'm going to the Snow Mountain to train. Oh. Zhou Ru watched Tenghua leave and returned with an image stone in a space bag. He took a detour. He took out an image stone from the space bag and put it in his own space bag. Then he found a place to hide the space bag that Tenghua gave him. Then he went to meet those people. At this time, Tenghua had already gone down the mountain and was running in the direction of the Snow Mountain. The Snow Mountain that Tenghua went to was called Sun Traversing Snow Mountain because it was very high. When the sun was high in the sky, the top of the Snow Mountain looked like it was going to pierce through the sun. To this day, no one knew how big this Snow Mountain was. There were countless spirit treasures here, and it was very popular among cultivators. Of course, this place was also accompanied by endless dangers. Of those who came in, many gained benefits, but many also lost their lives. The deeper they went, the more dangers they might encounter. Over the years, there had been countless cultivator caves and secret realms exposed in the Snow Mountain. The greatest danger for cultivators here was humans. If I recall correctly, a pocket dimension will appear here soon. When that happens, cultivators from all over will come here to fight for the treasures. As Tenghua hurried along, she didn't forget to recall the contents of the storyline. It said that the mysterious power that appeared here alarmed the entire Absolute Beginning sect. When the time comes, the elders of the Absolute Beginning sect who are in seclusion will also come here to check out the situation. Yes, they had also encountered a crisis. This crisis had almost caused the entire sect's experts to perish. When it had nothing to do, the system would also ponder about the storyline of this world, hoping to discover something. In desperation, Tang Xiang solved the mystery and resolved the crisis. That time, the entire Absolute Beginning sect gained a lot, while the other sects suffered countless casualties. Chapter 35:11. The air around them was already freezing cold. If not for the fact that Tenghua was a cultivator, she might not have been able to continue moving forward. Even a normal cultivator would not be able to adapt to such a cold place. However, Tenghua had an ice spirit root. To her, this place was like taking a stroll in her own backyard. The colder the place, the more advantageous it was for her. It was also because of this that Yu Heng could finally give the mixed yuan flame flower to Tang Xiang. No one in the sect objected to this. Was the great host trying to stop this? Tenghua did not speak for a while. She waited until they entered the snowy mountain before saying, "Don't you think that the plot of this world is too vague? It seems like everything is mentioned, but most of the things that I know are related to me. For example, some of the things that Tang Xiang experienced, for example, the method that she used to solve the crisis was not mentioned. It gives me the feeling that it was purposely made vague. Or maybe I'm overthinking." The system did not think that the great host was overthinking. It had already browsed through the plot countless times. It was indeed as Tenghua said, the plot was vague. Only the plot of the original host was clear. As for other things, it was not specific and only mentioned in general. It felt like someone was purposely making the plot vague and did not want the great host to know. Once they entered the snowy mountain, Tenghua became alert. The two of them also stopped discussing the plot of this world. The reason why Tenghua came to the sun-traversing snow mountain was because she felt that this place was mysterious, powerful, and had countless opportunities. Perhaps she could find the opportunity to condense her golden core here. What she did not know was that Zhou Ru brought an image stone to meet the people who threatened him. As expected, he was beaten up badly. After that, Zhou Ru followed her instructions and went to the disciplinary hall to meet the disciplinary hall's disciplinary elder. "You said you were beaten up?" "Yes, I was beaten up." Zhou Ru still remembered Tanggua's words and said, "Not only did they beat me up, they even wanted to force me to beat up others. I was unwilling and was beaten up by them." Then do you have evidence? Su Zong was interested. The number of disciples who came to the disciplinary hall to complain was decreasing. In these years, no disciples were willing to come to the disciplinary hall. There was only him and a few disciples here. Fortunately, he was powerful and his disciples were not disappointed. Even though there were few people in the disciplinary hall, no one in the sect dared to provoke them. First it was Tangua who came to complain and now it was a disciple who looked a little silly. Of course he was happy. Su Zong narrowed his eyes and watched Zhou Ru leave. Only when Zhou Ru disappeared did he say, "This elder has been in the sect for who knows how many years. I have gone to the back mountain countless times, but I have never found an image stone. Master, do you want me to investigate Zhou Ru?" Su Zong smacked the head of the eldest disciple who was beside Su Zong. "What's there to investigate? What did that Zhou Ru do?" Chapter 35:12. The eldest disciple scratched his head. "Not really." "Then why are you investigating him?" "Master, don't you suspect that there's something wrong with him?" The eldest disciple said innocently. Su Zong slapped him again. "I'm just lamenting that this disciple's luck is good. Fortune favors fools." "Is that so?" As for Tangua's dangerous journey into the snow mountain, she also picked some good spirit herbs along the way. Conflicts were inevitable, but she had rich battle experience and a fierce will to fight to the death. At first glance, people felt that she was not to be trifled with. No one was willing to risk their lives for a small spirit herb, and it was not something too precious. Therefore her journey was quite smooth. Unknowingly, she had already gone very far into the snow mountain, and the number of cultivators she encountered decreased. The temperature in the surroundings had reached a level that could instantly freeze a person solid. Cultivators who could go deep into this place were at least at the golden core stage. In this place, even golden core stage cultivators might not be her match. "Dear host, have you still not found a breakthrough point?" "Oh." Tangua shook her head gently. "I keep feeling like I'm missing something. Don't worry, I'll cultivate here for a while. I feel that the opportunity is not far away." Cultivating in this place was much faster than cultivating outside. However, because she could not condense a golden core for a long time, the spirit energy in her dantian increased. When the day came for her to condense a golden core, she did not know how much her strength would increase. After spending a day, she found a decent-looking place to cultivate. This place was very beautiful. It was originally surrounded by white snow, but there were beautiful plum blossoms blooming on the white snow here. Every flower was very bright and was completely unaffected by the cold air. After cultivating for about 10 days, she still did not show any signs of condensing a golden core. At this time she observed her surroundings and found many rare spirit herbs. Therefore Tangua decided to pick some spirit herbs to exchange for spirit stones. She had too few resources on her so she could not miss out on any of them. "System, it's quite a lot. Dear host, have you forgotten that you still have a system space? You're really a little wronged." Tangua was picking spirit herbs when she heard the voice of someone talking. Moreover, the voice sounded somewhat familiar. She turned a corner and saw a group of people. "I've already heard about what happened to the absolute beginning sect. Xiang, why do you have to speak up for her? We grew up together. Do you think I don't know what kind of person she is? She is a vengeful person. She must have made preparations in advance to lure you into her trap. Those people were tricked and your eldest senior brother was just unlucky to run into it." "Big brother, is it really impossible to go back to how it was?" "Xiang, it's not that we don't want to return to our original state, it's that she doesn't want to. She has always been jealous since she was young. When she was young she could even lay her hands on you, her biological sister. She didn't show any mercy to those of the same clan. Have you forgotten how many people in the clan have been beaten by her? You won't be able to get out of bed for at least 3 to 5 days. The more Tang Sun spoke, the angrier he became. Now that I heard that she doesn't get along well with her fellow disciples, I'm not surprised at all. That's just her personality. But she's still my sister, big brother. But she doesn't even treat you as her sister. Xiang, you're always helping her. Have you ever thought that it's unfair to other people? If she's good, why does everyone think that she's bad? Even her parents don't like her." Chapter 35:13. Xiang, I think Peak Master Yu is right. You should stay away from her. You've done enough these years. Big Brother doesn't want you to treat her as an enemy. I just want you to wake up. Tang Xiang sighed. Master saw it and said that my cultivation progress is getting slower and slower. Maybe it's because of Big Sister's influence that I should let go of this matter earlier. Did I really do something wrong? Xiang, Big Brother, let's go over quickly. I smell a very sweet smell. Must be a treasure. If I'm not wrong, it should be the ice snow lotus. Coincidentally, I was still thinking about what to bring back for Mother. If it's the ice snow lotus, I can give it to her. Not only did Tang Xiang smell it, but Tang Guo also noticed it. Was it such a coincidence? When Tang Xiang and Tang Sun led the others to the ice snow lotus, Tang Guo had already arrived at the place where the ice snow lotus grew. In front of her was indeed a newly bloomed ice snow lotus. Needless to say, this thing was very useful to her. Big sister? Naturally, Tang Xiang saw that Tang Guo was beside the ice snow lotus. Tang Guo didn't make a move because she was so close to the ice snow lotus, but there was no guardian beast. This made her feel a little strange. She was only at the foundation establishment peak, so she didn't dare to make a move. She only stood to the side and observed. Big sister, be careful. There's a guardian beast beside the ice snow lotus. Tang Xiang shouted. She didn't care about the ice snow lotus at first, but told Tang Guo to be careful. This reaction time was indeed incomparable to ordinary people. The original owner wasn't good with words, so it was normal that she couldn't fight. This Tang Xiang, after interacting with her so many times, had never once let the cat out of the bag. She was indeed a very high-level white lotus. Tang Sun said, the guardian beast of this ice snow lotus is at least at the late golden core stage. You're not its opponent. Don't go looking for death. The system had already locked onto the surroundings. Tang Guo's divine sense scanned the surroundings, but didn't find the guardian beast. As she didn't move. Hurry up and get out of the way. If the guardian beast finds out, you'll lose your life. Even if you get the ice snow lotus, you won't have the fortune to enjoy it. Tang Sun didn't think that Tang Guo was worthy of the ice snow lotus. Just now, Xiang had said that this ice snow lotus was a gift for his mother. Naturally, it was Xiang's. He believed that since Tang Guo was no match for the guardian beast, she should not have the snow lotus. Dear host, there's indeed nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't discover any guardian beasts, but I'm not sure if there's a barrier blocking it. I don't feel any danger either. System, so what else could it be? Of course, it was to pluck the ice snow lotus and keep it in his bag. That was what Tang Guo did. Under Tang Xiang and Tang Sun's incredulous gazes, she stretched out a hand with many scars and gently plucked the snow lotus. She put it into a jade box, then put the jade box into her interspatial bag. Sister, be careful. Tang Xiang's eyes were wide open and they were filled with worry. With such a comparison, the people who came along could not help but shake their heads. There was indeed a traitor in the Tang family. He had long known that the former genius had a bad temper. Now that he saw it today, it was indeed so. Tang Guo didn't want to do anything immediately to prove her innocence to the world. Now, no matter how much she explained, it would be pale and powerless. Most people wouldn't believe her. Since this was a world that revered strength, then what she needed to do was to increase her strength. Chapter 35:14. Xiang, be careful. Tang Sun shielded Tang Xiang behind him, not letting her get close to Tang Guo. Don't go over. Tang Xiang wanted to go over but was stopped by Tang Sun. Tang Sun was much stronger than Tang Xiang and couldn't break free. Tang Sun glanced at Tang Guo as if to say, if you provoke the guardian beast because of your greed, you can't blame anyone when you die. Tang Guo glanced at him and said, don't be afraid. You didn't touch the ice snow lotus. Even if the guardian beast appears, it won't attack you. With that, Tang Guo walked inside. She felt that there was no danger. Perhaps there was something strange about this place for the guardian beast to not appear. Even if it appeared, she would be able to move faster in this snowy mountain and have a way to escape. Big brother, let's go and take a look. I'm worried. Tang Xiang and the others followed Tang Guo for about an hour. When they discovered that there were really no guardian beasts, they were very surprised. Along the way, Tang Guo picked many spirit herbs and didn't encounter any danger. This made Tang Xiang and Tang Sun frown. The people who followed them looked at Tang Guo with burning eyes. Big sister, I want to exchange the ice snow lotus with you. Tang Xiang saw that Tangua had obtained countless spirit treasures and she didn't find anything, so she had an idea. I haven't gone back to see my parents in a long time. This ice snow lotus is just right. Big sister, don't worry, I won't take it for free. I'll exchange it with something and won't let you suffer a loss. Big sister, you can choose whatever you want from my space bag. No exchange. If she exchanged it, it wouldn't be in line with her character. Anyway, she was a bad person in everyone's eyes. How could she be a good person? Even if she exchanged it, she wouldn't get anything good. People would say that Tang Xiang was sensible and calculative. No matter what, she wouldn't exchange it. Tang Sun said, "You're lucky today to have obtained so many good things. However, it won't be easy to take them out. Just tell me what you want." Xianger is just being filial. She doesn't like your ice snow lotus and wants to exchange it for her own use. If you agree, I can escort you back to the absolute beginning sect. Tangua felt that these words were funny and couldn't be bothered to respond. Tang Sun wanted to say something but was stopped by Tang Xiang. Big brother, if big sister doesn't want to, then forget it. Tangua continued to walk deeper into the cave. Tang Xiang kept saying, "It's better to go out with my sister. I don't feel at ease." Tangua was very clear about Tang Xiang's plan. Her guess had already come true. When they came across another very precious spirit medicine, Tang Xiang first shouted and pointed to a place. Tang Sun was very fast, pulling her along as he ran towards that place. System. Dear host, how did Tang Xiang discover the treasure so quickly? Does she have something like a treasure hunting mouse on her? Maybe. Tangua didn't chase after him. She had already expected such a thing to happen. She didn't have a special solution for the time being. After all, Tang Sun was very powerful. Host, there's a restriction around the spirit herb. My vision was deceived and I didn't notice it for a while. It's not your fault. I didn't see it either. Tangua was already very satisfied. She had obtained enough things today. Moreover, something with a restriction might really have a guardian beast. It was good that she didn't discover it. That's great. Big brother, I have a gift for mother this time. This extreme cold Lingji is not inferior to the ice snow lotus. Tang Xiang was very happy and was about to pick it. She didn't think there was a guardian beast at all. Tangua had picked so many spirit herbs but didn't encounter any guardian beasts. This place probably didn't have any guardian beasts. Dear host, there's movement. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.